What's up, everybody, and welcome to the OMFL Season 79 Draft Show. That is right, the 79th Draft Show here in the OMFL. And you're going to get to hear some of my family for a little bit. They got me stuck in the front room today, so this should make for an interesting pre-draft show. And I also think that I'm all alone. I think D. Wayne is working tonight, and I'm now looking at this center that was my second guy that I wanted to draft, and yeah, I hate you, Massimo. Good pick. Lots of picks. We're already at pick number 8 in the second round. The draft doesn't even start for another 15 minutes. So let me just quickly recap this draft so far. I'm just going to kind of run through these picks. It's really picked up this afternoon. And I'll kind of give you my thoughts on everything. With the pick number 1, left outside linebacker, Barry went to the Colts. Potter, a middle linebacker, went to the Lions. Middle linebacker, Nielsen, went to the Ravens. Left outside linebacker Middleton went to the Browns. Halfback Ellison went to the Rams. The Patriots picked up middle linebacker Morton. The Cowboys picked up wide receiver Jeffcoat. The Bears picked up right outside linebacker LaFleur. The Chiefs picked up wide receiver Dukas. The Panthers picked up wide receiver Candidate. The Bears picked up right end Morrison. The Cowboys picked up free safety Walker. The Steelers picked up middle linebacker Ross. The Bills followed that up with middle linebacker Askew. Free safety Newman went to the what team is that? That's the Dolphins. Thank you. I knew it was there. I just had to think of it. McMillan, right tackle, went to the Bucks. Defensive tackle LaFleur went to the Redskins. My Saints picked up defensive tackle Sims at number 18. Number 19, Arenas, left tackle, went to the San Francisco 49ers. Tight end Darkwa went to the Chargers at 20. The Cardinals at 21 took halfback Casper. He's white, so he's probably not going to be any good. Left guard Harrelson went to the Tennessee Titans at 22. Wide receiver Mincy went to the Texans at 23. My kids look at me because I said he was a white running back. It's all fake. It's okay. Quarterback Reisner went to the listen to me, the New York Giants. He's going to kill me for saying that at 24. Russell, wide receiver, went to the Bengals. They were loading up at receivers at 25. Weddenburn, free safety, went to the Eagles at 26. Gilbert, receiver, at 27, went to the Vikings. Middle linebacker Booth went to the Bengals at 28. How did he get all these picks? Who's trading with this guy? Cannon, quarterback, went to the Chargers at 29. Halfback McFoy went to the Patriots at 30. 31, seeing the Jets pick up wide receiver Fletcher. And then my Saints wrapped it up with the bust of the draft so far. Right guard Bean, who's a complete terrible player who I will probably cut before this draft is even over with. The second round starts off with wide receiver Rab, who went to the Colts. Yeast, right tackle, went to the Lions. They followed that right back up with 35. Center Percy. Defensive tackle Morancola went to the Browns. Boy, I had to say that one. Left end Morris went to the Rams. Doucette, wide receiver, went to the Patriots. And Milinkovic, center, went to the Dallas Cowboys. That gets us to pick number 40 with the Seahawks. I'm going to go ahead and skip him because he is not around. And he takes quarterback Dell at number 40. That puts us at number 41. Let me go ahead and just update my draft sheet that I've got going here. Get this quarterback in here. Going to be interested to see what he thinks about this kid. I didn't know that he was in need of a quarterback, but I know his quarterbacks are getting kind of old. So, all right. So it's been a fast draft so far. I can't believe we've already got to the second round. That's going to cut probably an hour right off the top there of the draft. So it should be picking up here in the next 10 minutes. Let me just give you, excuse me, my overall thoughts about this draft. I feel like it is loaded at center. There's going to be a lot of really good players coming out at the center position that will be able to start for a lot of teams. If you're like my team and you missed on one, you could probably pick one of these guys up in the second, third, maybe even fourth round. Just like the last draft, center seems to be one of those positions that are really, really good. When you look at cornerback, though, just as good as center is, cornerback is the worst in this draft. This is probably the worst that we've ever seen any drafts. There's no superstars, no blue chippers, no red chippers coming out of here. Everything's going to be a risky pick. You're probably going to see the speed start to fly off the board probably here in the second round, I expect, right? Guys are are pretty loaded with their teams. I mean, we're 6 seasons deep, whatever this is. So guys are at a point where they can start just taking flyers. And so these top probably 6 guys here will fly off the board pretty quickly. Look over at defensive tackle. You do have a couple of horses there, but they're almost all gone in both LaFleur, Morlakovic, and Sims. Those are all 3 of some of the top ones. There's one more guy that I would consider a red chipper. He's still out there. I really like this draft for fullback, too. I think that there's going to be some really good fullbacks that come out of this draft. Free safety and strong safety both have some pretty good players. Not a ton of like straight-in speed, but I think we've proven you don't have to have speed to have a really good player when you get for free safety and strong safety in this league. I will say, though, speed, especially at those safety positions, will matter just a little bit more in all Madden because guys will get behind them pretty quickly, as they should. Halfback, we've already seen a couple of the top guys go off of the board. It'll be really interesting to see who comes out of here as one of those really good superstar players. Right now we're seeing guys between 87 and 90 speed. I don't think you're going to have any superstar burners come out of here, but we've shown the Seahawks, the Falcons, many other teams have shown you don't have to have that 95-plus speed running back to have a stud here. You can win with an 87 speed running back if he's a bruiser that can get between the tackles. Left end, I should say, is a little light. Left guard is really, really good. And then left outside linebacker has got some really good playmakers. Again, not a ton of speed, but you do have some guys that will be up there, probably in the mid to high 80s overall. Left tackle has got some decent guys. Middle linebacker really was the key position in this draft, but they're almost all gone. I mean, those got picked out pretty high. Probably, I think there was 3 or 4 that went in the top 10 of the draft. Quarterback, nothing to really speak of. There's going to be a few guys that you'll see go that are going to be flyers just because guys need to try to fill those positions. I don't like the right end position either in this draft. The right guard position only has a handful of players, and the right outside linebacker position only has a handful of players. Tremaine LaFleur really was the best guy coming out of there with the 4.65 40 and the 21 bench press, and he's been long gone. Right tackle has a few good players that you could probably move around, though. I really like this Molds kid. I think you'll probably see him go here early in the second round. Tight end is much better than it has been the past seasons, but even with that said, you're only looking at about 3 or 4 guys that can make a difference. Darkwa was supposed to be a speed tight end. I know the Chargers took him and ended up with like 79 speed or something. So, again, you're not going to see a bunch of burners come out of this draft class. There is one guy that I think will be a burner and will be the overall best tight end come out of this draft. And then receiver. It's been really surprising how many receivers have went. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 receivers already, and we're pick number 9 in the second round. Receiver, middle linebacker, and outside linebacker really have been the surprises for me. There's been a lot of players in those positions that have flown off the board. Again, middle linebacker went really, really high because so many guys had those dudes earmarked as superstar players. We got about 6 minutes here before the draft starts. Kansas City is on the clock, pick number 9 in the second round, followed by, I think, yep, his pick just went, left guard Hand. Let's see what I can find on left guard Hand really, really quick. Really good player. Probably going to be a blue chipper. He did 36 in the bench press, 4.9, 140. More of a run blocker than a pass blocker, but he should be plenty good enough at 6'3". He'll be able to fill that left guard spot for the Kansas City Chiefs. They really have had a good draft. They had a really great season. They're following that up here. Up now is the Denver Broncos at 42, the Bears at 43, the Green Bay Packers at 44. The Steelers at 45. We're going to take about a 5-minute break here. We'll put the waiting to start live screen back up. We do have YouTube Live. It is up. I am able to follow the chat on there. Twitch is up, but I'm not really on Twitch. I'm just using it to stream because I got my TV that I'm actually looking at here to follow the draft. But YouTube is up, so if you guys want to, if we're watching the YouTube stream, please feel free to give us a like, a subscribe, follow us on Grown Folks OC on Twitter, Grown Folks OC on Twitch as well, and then our website, grownfolksoc.com. and we will see you guys here in just a few minutes. Get ready for the real draft, guys. Here we go. All right, guys, we are back. It is time to start the draft. So, unfortunately, our buddy UT here is a couple of minutes away from his apartment, but we're going to let his 2 minutes count down. Again, we're at pick number 10 in round number 2. Did a short little pre-draft show. I'm not quite sure what's up with the OBS. I see that it keeps glitching out. I apologize for that. It's been doing that for a little bit now. It's not something I have any control over, and I have yet to figure out what's causing it. But yeah, the YouTube stream is up. The Twitch stream is up if you want to watch that, even though I'm not really paying attention to it. And the Discord voice chat is on. Let me unmute myself there, where you guys can hear me if you're not watching the stream. I've been talking for a few minutes without having the Discord voice chat on. But we're back on. 1:15 left to go before Mr. Glaze's pick is up. Yeah, he's going to miss this because he's just a couple of minutes away from his apartment. So, unfortunately, it looks like I might be flying solo tonight. Dawson's in here muted. Dwayne's at work muted. So, yeah, I might be going solo at this tonight. So, we'll see how that is. It's been many years since I've had to go solo. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of the offensive linemen go off the board right now. It's really loaded at offensive line. Guys know how important it is. And to be honest, the defense has gotten picked pretty clean in that first round. It was very defensive heavy and wide receiver heavy, which I didn't expect to see, especially in this last draft. I just didn't expect guys to take so many wide receivers. But look, free agency is a real thing. Managing your cap here is a real thing. And guys had to make some tough calls on some really good players that had to walk, that they had to let walk just due to cap reasons. So here goes the Denver Broncos pick, and that's going to be over to Outlaw for pick number 43. All right, they take strong safety Blackstock. Let me see what I got on him. Ooh. There were much better strong safeties in my opinion. 6'1", ran a 4.52 40, did 19 in the bench press. A thumper, which we know that Dwayne is a big fan of. Good tackler. He's going to have to work on that zone coverage. He's going to have to work on wrapping up, especially here in the OMFL. There's a lot of really good players, but 6'1", he definitely has the size. Another one right after him, strong safety Hobbs. He's going to go over to the Chicago Bears. Now, that's a guy that I do like. Hobbs, 6'2", a big-time hitter, probably one of the best hitters in this draft. It's going to need a little work on the tackling, but he ran a 4.51 40 and did 24 in the bench press. He's really strong, should be fast enough. Really, really good player. I like that pick for the Chicago Bears. Cornerback, first cornerback off the board here, McLeod. Let me see what I got on him. Yep, here's where we're starting to go speed, right? I told you guys this was going to happen. Ruben McLeod, 5'11", nothing to really brag about. Does everything fairly decent. 21 on the bench press, so he's plenty strong enough. But ran a 4.36 40, the fastest cornerback in the draft. So you knew that was coming, especially when you start talking about the Green Bay Packers. I mean, Priest loves his speed. I'm surprised he didn't take 3 halfbacks to start this draft off with. He loves his halfbacks, and he loves his speed. He is definitely one of those guys that will go after athleticism over some other skills. I think this cornerback, look, if you can't get him in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, he's not worth drafting. There are too many good players that can impact your team right away. I don't see this kid being able to do that. Maybe he shocks me. Maybe he ends up being a really, really good player. I just don't see it happening. I'm not going to be able to really pay a ton of attention to the chat, but I see that guys are starting to post already. So he's 70 overall, this cornerback, 96 speed, 75 man, 74 zone, 92 acceleration. So not a terrible player, but here's where it's going to be tough. 52 play recognition, and his awareness doesn't even show up. So, look, yeah, he'll be able to run with the best of them, but he's not going to know what play's coming, so he's just making run in a straight line. So, Yeah. Dawson, Dwayne, if you guys get an opportunity, just unmute yourself. I'd love to have you come help me here tonight. Should be a really good draft show. I'm looking forward to it. The Steelers' time is running out. I'm guessing J-Bone is not around. I'm only going to skip picks if people say to skip picks. Other than that, I'm going to kind of try to stay away from it, let the computer do its thing. Left outside linebacker, Harline. Let's see what I got on him. Case Harline. 6'3", really good player here. Gets off of blocks well, tackles extremely well, and a big thumper. One of the best players here in this draft. 27 on the bench press, ran a 4.65 40, did 7.27 in the 3-cone. Should be a really good player for a Pittsburgh Steelers team, though, that's already going to be pretty good. Dawson, I see that you unmuted yourself. I know that you're going to be in and out tonight. What are you thinking about this draft so far? Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, like you said, it was very defensive heavy so far in the first and even in the second round going into it. So it's surprising. We've seen a lot of linebackers go off the board so far. So I guess everybody's trying to look for either trying to find that core defensive guy that will help them, either this season or even going into the next cycle. So it's interesting, once we see some linebackers go, then we start seeing a lot more. And the same thing, like you said, with the offensive linemen, there's still a lot of good ones out there. I think that's one position that's been really heavily, a lot of top-rated linemen throughout all of the drafts. I mean, you can always pick one up either in the second, third round. But yeah, it's been very defensively heavy for the first 2 rounds.
Yep, I just didn't expect to see that. Guys, excuse me, I'm learning that if I'm not actually on OSB or on the Twitch that is up, that it actually won't keep it playing. So, we're going to try some other stuff here. We're going to see if this works a little bit better, if this actually keeps it playing, because I can't actually stay on OBS or stay on the Twitch because... there it goes. Trying to get this off because I got a draft board to try to keep up. So we'll see if this keeps up. Quarterback Fowler goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. Wide receiver Hankins goes over to the Miami Dolphins. Let me see what I got on these two guys. Let me get to the quarterback first. This is where it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough trying to keep up with all this stuff. Cameron Fowler, 6'5". I like him. Ran a 45 seconds flat, but a nice throwing power, can throw on the run, good sharp accuracy, should be a pretty good player for them. I thought that they had drafted a quarterback, though. Yeah, I know that they drafted a quarterback, so it's surprising to see that he took one this high, unless he's really just trying to build for his guy that he's going to take with him, his import. Hankins went over to the Miami Dolphins. Clay Hankins here, 5'9". They love those little receivers, man. Because he ran a 4.3 4.40. He will be a blue chipper, should be an excellent player for them. I personally do not draft anyone that's 5'8" or 5'9". He just posted something about this guy. 94 speed, 84 acceleration, 90 jump, 77 catch, kind of small, 93 acceleration, sorry. So a pretty decent player, but man, at that size, yeah, it's going to keep pausing, guys. I'm sorry about this. All right. I will stay on this as long as I possibly can, but it's going to be really difficult. Let me do this. Let me pause it one more time. I'm going to move my draft board so that I can stay on it as long as I possibly can. So yeah, I personally don't draft these little receivers. I'm just scared to draft a little guy. I just don't. I don't want to. Spend the money on a guy that can't help me block and can't help me on the outside. But look, guys are going after it because they love the speed, right? Mo kind of made this popular with his picks in the last couple of seasons, but not all of us play like Mo, so I think it's just going to be a tempting thing to do. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, it was. It's interesting to see how all these, especially the way the draft, last few drafts, has been really speed favored for the receivers and not speed favored for the cornerbacks. So Matt is not really helping us out, on covering
Nope.
those speed receivers. So it's kind of it is kind of interesting to see, all those, especially how many small receivers there are compared to other ones. You don't have the well, I think it was Sawanga out of 49ers. He was
Yep.
6'3". He had the speed, but he also had the size, and so did Foster out of with the Eagles.
Yep.
He has the size and the speed.
Yeah,
So
big guy.
you get those, yeah, big guys. You get those every once in a while, but most time, majority time is those 5'9" guys that this brittle bone. I mean, this guy, the Dolphins receiver Haskins, is rated as a good pick, and he's got the speed. He's got the jumping. He's 90 jumping. But he's 5'9", 170.
Hey,
so once you do those,
I don't want to cut you off, but I also don't want to catch you with your pants down, so to speak. You got 2 picks coming up here.
Oh, I ended up with this. I mean, with only 170, doing those drag routes or crossing routes, yeah, it's very injury prone. But here's my pick.
Yeah, let me let you go make your
myself.
picks. I want to talk about this guy that was just drafted, 1 pick before what just went off, and it's a really good pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Andre Humphries, I should say. I think he by far the best tight end in this draft. Ran a 4.75 40, 21 in the bench press, catches everything in sight. Really, really good player for them. Kudos to them. He's going to be a pain in my neck to try to cover. And then another middle linebacker went off the board. Probably the best one that I thought was left. A speed guy to the Redskins. 5'11", Alsfa Solomon. He ran a 4.6 440, did 28 in the bench press. So physically gifted kid, a thumper with a B+ hit power. He can really get after. He's going to have to work on his tackling here, though. And then here's a guy that just went to the Chargers. I can't wait to hear about this guy. Best. This was a dude that I kind of had my eye on. I didn't really know what to expect, but it was your pick. You got another pick coming up here. If you got time, go ahead and tell us about Best. If not, we'll wait till you get back from your other pick.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about him. I reached, and one reason I picked him is he skipped the combine, and I was going to take a chance on that. And I just wasn't sure if that was going to be good or not. I know there's sometimes it works out in favor, but he's 77 in strength. He's a speed rusher. He's only 21. It says he's ranked number 38 or 138 in true talent, and I drafted him at number 50. So I reached on that. Play rec is 61, but acceleration is 85 and speed is 84. So he is a speed rusher. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I already got my line, and I was kind of hoping that it would be either a quick dev or a superstar dev. So I kind of imported, but it kind of failed on my end. So, but yeah, all in all, I guess I got another pick here. So I'm at the point now where I guess I'm just trying to see if I can get those sleeper picks.
Yep.
Hopefully it follows through, or I guess the rest of the picks will fall through in my end.
I don't know if the Tampa Bay Bucks. Excuse me, I knew that was coming. I don't know if the Tampa Bay Bucks are around, but if you post a photo of that tight end, I'd love to hear about him. I can't go back and forth only because if I go over to Discord, it will pause the Twitch account. I don't know why it does that. It's a little annoying. So Mr. Best, he skips the combine because he thought he was the best, and he ends up being bust for the Chargers. But you know what? You can probably find a place for him. You're really good at player development, and I know that you'll find a way to get him on the field and get him some playing time. Duvall's pick with the San Francisco 49ers is running out here. He takes wide receiver Hampton. He doesn't, but the computer does. See what I can find on Mr. Hampton. Brandon Hampton. Yep, that's him. 5'10". Did 20 in the bench press. Ran a 4.5 40. Good hands. Struggles with catching it in traffic though, and is not going to be a burner. With only 5'10", doesn't really make him a red zone threat. It's definitely going to be a bad CPU pick for him. And then we're back over at the Chargers again. A lot of receivers going this draft, which I'm shocked at. Look, there are a lot of very, very good receivers in this draft, but it's either going to be really big guys with great catching ability but slow, or really fast guys who are small. So that's going to kind of be the two types of players that you're looking at. The very good all-around player. Really, what like the Serwin Vegas, the Forbes, the guy that went to Cincy or a couple of seasons ago, whatever. Like those, like fully around players are either gone or no longer here. I think Kennedy, Doucette, like some of those guys that went really, really early. Jeff Coate. I think some of those guys were going to be as close to that all-around, well-rounded player. But what is left is either going to be a small guy with really great speed or a bigger guy with great everything else, but it's going to lack in the speed category. There's only a handful of really speedsters left that aren't 5'9" or 5'8", which again are great slot guys. But the ceiling on those players seems to be much lower than some of these other players. Then the Chargers, they go with left outside linebacker Radovich. You're right here with us, so go ahead and tell us about your left outside linebacker that you just took.
Yeah, I didn't game plan very much for my draft board. I started with like 40 players, and then now I only had like 10. So I had to go on the whim, and I guess his hit power is what interested me. He's only 22, so I guess if he has a good year this year, I might can use an import. So at this point, I'm just reaching. I'm reaching and falling or tripping off on my feet here. But speed is 84, is acceleration 85. So he's he got the speed at least for a linebacker. He has a big hitter trait. But the negatives, his awareness is 57, his play rec is 61, man coverage is 58, zone 65. So overall, he's 68. So he's going to be a project player. But I guess at this point, with us the last draft, it's just having to, I guess, trying to reach and see if I can get those gems. And I'm not getting so lucky right now.
Yeah, a couple players just went right after that, and it seems like those probably will be much like what you just talked about. Wide receiver Chamberlain went to the Cardinals. I don't love that pick. And then right outside linebacker Judy went to the Tennessee Titans. I think in both of those instances there were better players in those positions, but either the computer's making this pick or this is just what their draft board went because they were making some flyers. And again, I don't love it. I also don't love this other pick, Antoine Burns, that just went to the Houston Texans, 6'3". He did do 20 on the bench press, but only ran a 4.80 40. Look, overall, I think he can get off of blocks pretty good. He's going to need to work on a secondary move. He can hit, he can tackle, but is he going to, like, what kind of player is he? Is he going to stand up in a 3-4? Or are you going to put him as an out? I mean, you're not going to put him as an outside linebacker in a 4-3. Are you going to run a 4-3 defense and just put him at defensive end? It'll be interesting to see what the Houston Texans do there. I don't even know what kind of defense they run. I think everybody at this point of the league is running some kind of hybrid defense where they run a little bit of everything. Look, the kid has potential. I just think that there were better players in that spot there.
Yeah, and Jason posted a picture of his outside linebacker, Le'Veon Judy. It was a whole lot better than what my guy was. He's quick development. He's 6'4", 22. And he's coming out of Columbia College. It says he's reached, but I think that's an excellent pick, in my opinion, as far as I think he runs a 3-4. Could be wrong, Jason, but I know his play rec is 56, but power move is 82, pursuit is 82. His speed is 77, so probably not what you're looking at as far as a 4-3 linebacker. Yep. But if he is playing that kind of scheme, but if his type is 3-4, so he plays on the outside, he can get the
just
rush,
get after the quarterback.
And cover those flat areas. He still got a little bit of that speed.
I like the next pick, that Jordan's Ball that went over to the New York Giants. It's a really good pick. He did 29 the bench press. He's not going to be super duper strong, but maybe you can work on that. Good impact blocker, good run and pass. Like an all-around good player is going to just need to fine-tune his game. Probably going to bump him out to guard, right? I think that's the best position to start him at in this league. Left in Butler. Let me see what I got on Mr. Butler. Craig Butler, 6'3", ran a 4.9 340, did 21 in the bench press. A good thumper, can tackle really, really well. Another one of those guys that you want to play on a defensive end. I don't think that you can stand him up. If he is, an outside linebacker, then he's got to have his hand on the ground. Strong safety. Carrier went to the Cardinals. Let me see what I got on Mr. Carrier. Wade Carrier, 5'11", 18 on the bench press, ran a 4.53 40. Another big thumper, man. Dwayne's probably loving all these thumpers that are coming into the room. A good zone coverage guy, but he's going to have to really work on fine-tuning some of those skills if he's going to be a real player here in the league. All right, now we're over to Beal. 25 seconds and counting for the Minnesota Vikings. I am a few seconds ahead of you guys on the stream here. But we're moving right along. We're going to be at the end of the second round here in just a few seconds. I think at the end of the second round I will take a quick pause, go grab me some agua, and prepare for the rest of this pretty long night that we still got ahead of us. A defensive tackle, Grant, goes to the Minnesota Vikings. Let me see what I can find on Mr. Grant. Again, a lot of the really, really good ones went early. They seem to get gobbled up pretty quickly. It's been a pretty light draft for defensive tackles the last couple of years. Here we go. T. Grant, not even going to try to say his first name. I love his size, 6'3", a big powerhouse right there in the center. Ran a 4.97 40 for a big man, but did 34 in the bench press. Definitely a blue chipper type player. Probably got 89 or 90 strength. Much better than the Sims kid that I picked up. Should be a really, really good player for them. And that Minnesota Vikings defense is already pretty stacked. They're just going to tend to get better and better because, look, that team made a pretty nice run last season. And he just needs a couple more things to just get right over the hump there. And if he's able to do that, this could be the year here in our very last season before we move to Madden 19 that he gets over the hump. Just doing the math in our head again, this will be the last season. We're going to go over to All Madden and give it a shot. It's worth the mix-up. All Pro is, I think, great at a lot of people's nerves, and we're all but tapped out on it. And so we're going to go give it a shot, and we'll see if we love it or hate it. And then that should leave us maybe a couple of weeks just to take a little bit of a breather, do some prep work, get some podcasts out as Madden 19 gets a little bit closer, and we just get a little bit more information about it. Overall, it should just be a really, really good time. And looking forward to this last season and finishing strong. Cincinnati Bengals here are going to run out of time, it looks like. Let's see what pick the computer makes for them. Strong safety Brigance. Let's see what we got on strong safety Brigance. I'm not even seeing him on my draft board, and I thought I had everybody. Oh, here we go. Telvin Brigance, 6 foot, strong safety, 22 years old. Probably more of a thumper than anything, but everything needs a lot of work. Ran a 4.5 240. I do like his strength, though, 24 in the bench press. So he comes with some tangible measurables, I should say, there. But he's definitely going to have to work on his game as a whole. Hopefully he's like a quick Devo type guy, and you can sink some stuff into him. If not, I'm not sure that you're going to have the proper time to be able to build that guy out. Right tackle Gunter goes over to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's see what we got on Jordan Gunter. I like this pick. projected to go in the first round. 6'5" with a B plus impact blocking. More of a pass blocker than a run blocker, which you don't like in this league. 28 on the bench press. You don't love it, but you know what? We've kind of proven we're not sure how much strength goes, but a nice pick. Should be a good red chipper for them. Then the Falcons take the fullback. I think this is the kid that I really loved. I was hoping would fall, but you know what? It is. Norman Sundenberg goes over to the Falcons. He'll be a really good player. 26 on the bench press. Ran a 4.7 340. Good trucker. Good stiff arm. Can carry the ball well. Almost like a fullback hybrid. Fullback halfback hybrid. He can do a little bit of both. And we're going to wrap up the last two picks here in the second round. When we get to the Colts, I'll just take a quick little break, probably like a minute or so, just to grab some water, and then I'll get right back on the mic and we'll break down the picks into round number 3. We're moving right along. It was nice to get into the second round with the pause draft. I know it didn't go nearly as fast as some of us wanted, but you know what? I was happy that we were able to get a whole round done. Really picked up today on Sunday when a lot of people were around. That's right, Mo Deadly is not here, so let me go ahead and skip him. Mo Deadly's Jets take right in Murphy. What a name, Murphy. See what I got on Mr. Murphy.
I had that. I had to help Dakota out with that fullback. I got his stats here.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about it.
He's actually it's rated as a good pick. He's ranked 41 in true talent. Drafted him at number 62. He's a balanced tight fullback. He's not a blocking fullback. His run block is 67, pass block is 63. His trucking is 85 though. Speed 81, impact blocking 76. So he has a lot of potential. He's only 22, so he has a lot of room. That he can be improved if that's what Dakota is planning to move over, import over. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess for the late second round pick, a fullback. But I mean, I feel like the way Dakota guys roster, he's not having to fill a lot of needs right now. So he's more or less at the point where he can just try to reach and try to pick up those at least those hidden picks around there.
Well, let me talk about Taylor McMurphy. Now, the Ravens are not going to make their own pick, but I'm going to let it count down. That way I can break down these next two picks and then take a quick break. 6'6". I like this pick for the Jets. McMurphy is more of a power guy. Like, he can really get off of blocks. He's got good power moves. He ran a 4.7 440 and did 23 in the bench press. This might end up being a guy that could stand up on the outside to rush the passer in a 3-4. Definitely can play the outside in a 4-3. Should be like an all-around really good player. At 6'6", he should have a big wingspan. That should be a pretty good pick. A red chipper going over to the New York Jets. And then we're going to get to the last pick. We'll break down this Ravens pick, and then Dakota, you're more than welcome to talk if you want to fill in some gap. But I'm gonna go and grab me some water and kind of get ready. And I think this is actually the fullback that I had hoped was going to fall. I think, yep, this is Mr. Barnhart. It is. This is the guy that I was hoping was going to fall. Now, he ran a 5.0240, did 31 in the bench press, an impact blocker. I almost took him in the first round, but kind of a risky pick, and it's a fullback, so I talked myself out of it. I really, really like this pick. 6 foot flat. He should be a really, bowling ball powerhouse at fullback for the Ravens. Should be a really good player. Riley Barnhart going over to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to take a really quick break here, just a really quick second, and we'll come back and we'll start picking down some of these picks.
Not sure if that's going to cut it as far as a lineman. Probably his strength is probably either in the high 70s or low 80s. At this time, going in all Madden, that's going to be pretty tough for any offensive lineman to block a defense lineman. So with that 26 reps, um, it's going to be pretty tough for Warmack and the Ravens.
So the picks are starting to fly off. Thanks for kind of filling in the gap for me. But yeah, I was surprised that not as many offensive linemen as I thought were going to go in that second round. I really expected more to go, but definitely there are some good players that are out there that are still left to be picked. And now they're starting to fly. Halfback George, I really like that pick. I don't know if you were able to talk about that, but that's a guy with some speed. Should be able to help out that Lions offense. It's really struggled to find some playmakers. And now we're starting to see some of these cornerbacks fly off, but I think they're going to be CPU picks. If I had to guess, that's what these are going to be.
Yeah, like I said earlier, with the receivers, they've been really heavily on the speed, the acceleration, and then I haven't really seen it as far as cornerbacks. Maybe one or two a draft, but this draft, I didn't see. I don't think there was any cornerback projected in the first round.
No. And we just had two go. One in like the middle of the second round or early second round, and one here in the third round. That's all that's left so far. Let's see what we got on wide receiver. Moore that just went to the Rams. He's really rebuilding that team. 6'1", ran a 4.47 40, did 20 on the bench press. Really good hands. Has really nice speed. Is pretty good at getting off of blocks. He's going to have to fine tune some things. But what I really like about him was his 4.22 40 and his 7.08 3-cone. That's pretty good for a wide receiver. Should add a playmaker that could possibly spot fill-in duty as a starter or even play that fourth receiver if you don't have a speed guy. Maybe even play that slot. Free safety Mosley. Let's see what we got on him. Bradley Mosley goes over to the Patriots. 5'11", ran a 4.52 40, did 23 in the bench press. Right in Hughes. It's funny, all these things just start looking the same after a while. Right in Ross Hughes, 6'3", really nice pursuit, really nice power moves. Ran a 4.61 40, did 24 in the bench press. An all-around really good player. Like that pick for Massimo and the Dallas Cowboys. He really knows how to pick them. I mean, he really rebuilt that Texans team to be a powerhouse before moving over to the Dallas Cowboys last season. And it looks like he's starting to do the exact same things again.
Yeah, and looks like Maniac posted his third-round pick, Bradley Mosley, out of free safety out of New Mexico.
Yep.
He's rated as a good pick, 69th in true talent, and he drafted him at 7th. So right there, acceleration 92, speed 87. So that's just a good combination for a safety. Hit power 81, so he can still hit. A slight negatives is you got play rec at 66. And man coverage is 63, but safeties, I guess, usually they only cover that tight end. So if you just put him in the other safety, and then he should be good as far as trying to cover anybody. And that play rate, if it's age of 23, you can easily bump that up at least by mid-70s by the end of the season.
Yep. Halfback Darkwood goes over to the Carolina Panthers. Excuse me, that's happening a lot. I'm having little mini strokes, I guess. That's a little bit of a head scratcher to me. I'm not quite understanding that pick. Wasn't a speedster, wasn't really a thumper. He's kind of a tweener of a pick there. The Kansas City Chiefs then took right guard Kalu. I really like this pick. A 6'3", did a 31 on the bench press. This was a kid that I had my eye on. Really good run grader, can open up blocks, can attack at the point of attack. So he's going to have to work on his pass blocking, but you can protect him with a really good center. Should be a really good pick for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and Shocks looks like he posted a pick, and it is a good pick. Ranked 40th in true talent, and he drafted at 73 in the third round. So, like you said, pass block is 77, but his strength is up there at 87. Impact is already at 84. Run block is already 86. So, one kicker is the awareness is 58. So he's going to let those blitzes come. He's not going to be able to pick up those blitzes unless he brings that up a little bit.
The Chicago Bears, or I should say, the Denver Broncos took tight end McKenzie. The Chicago Bears took cornerback Stone. The Green Bay Packers took quarterback Powers. Let me see what I can find on Powers right here. Patrick Powers, a 6'6" guy. The B+ throwing power makes me scratch my head. Why are you taking that guy this early in the second quarter? Listen to me, in the third round. That's a confusing pick for me. I don't know if the quarterback or the computer is making these picks for him or if he's around. But then cornerback Stone, I actually kind of like that pick. Look, I don't like any of these cornerbacks, but if you're going to pick one, you might as well pick one that ran a 4.5 40, did 15 on the bench press, and can have some pretty decent man and zone coverage. 5'11", he's got some pretty decent size there. So look, not a terrible pick. I just don't love any cornerbacks in this draft. I think it's just a really tough draft to take cornerbacks. But look, you're also in the third round, right? Your third round, and you're picking. There's a reason that you're picking as high as you're picking because you didn't have the season that you wanted to. So it's worth taking those flyers and taking those options if you need that cornerback position.
Yeah, I think we're at the point now in the draft where guys are just going to look at the speed.
Yep.
Mostly, I guess, priority number one, and then look at the other attributes. But that's just the way it is, and that's speed kills. And you just gotta I guess get your own speed guys. To counter that. But Colin, he did post a picture that Darkra halfback. He's a speed back or one cut type, but his acceleration is 94, speed 90. He says he reached, but we all know that speed. If you I guess call the right plays, it would be a threat down the field as well as in the backfield. Then we got Priest did post Patrick Powers, so I guess he is picking. He said he was having a night out with his guys, so I guess he's somehow picking. But overall, 67 for Patrick Powers. He comes with a lot of traits, but I can't really see anything else. So I'm not sure if Priest don't want us knowing or what. But anyways, I think he still has Rodgers up there, so he doesn't have to rely on a first-string quarterback or try to get one right now.
55 years old.
Yeah.
I really like this pick, that left tackle that went to the Steelers, Emerald Thompson, 6'7", a massive piece of a man. Did 34 in the bench press, more of a run blocker than a pass blocker. Should be a really good player for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, and just a heads up, you got a couple picks. Your picks are close. And then looks like Crazy B-Man out of L.A. Rams. He posted a picture of Dion Moore. Looks like another speed guy. I'm sorry about that. Speed is 91, but his acceleration is 84. So just don't have that get up. His jumping is 89. So and he's 6'1". And only 22, so he's going to be able to, get that up, bring up his route skills, and hopefully be like either a solid backup for him going throughout this the season.
Yeah, a couple of defensive tackles coming off the board. Marshall going over to the Buffalo Bills. Perry going over to the Miami Dolphins. I think that they actually missed on some probably better players, but you know what? I'd love to see what both of those guys. Perry 6'3", Marshall 6'7". Perry, more of a guy that can get off of blocks and get after the quarterback, whereas Marshall's more of a thumper. Perry did 32 in the bench press. Marshall only 26, but maybe you can move Marshall out to defensive end. I've had to do that a couple of times, but I think that Doyle is probably the best defensive tackle that's left in this draft, and he's still sitting there undrafted and with some potential there. It looks like we got right guard Velman, and then it's going to be the Raiders, and then over to my Saints. But I should have my board set up, so it shouldn't take me too long here. Let me see what I can find out on this right guard Veldman that just went to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Hopefully he sucks.
Going back a few picks, the Broncos selected a tight end Desmond McKenzie, which it is your pick now.
Yep, I see that.
6'7", 22, and normal dev, and he's a vertical threat. So just not only I'm going to watch out for Gilbert Nixon over there, I'm going to watch out for McKenzie now. But acceleration 87, speed 80, so it's a pretty top notch for a receiving tight end. Run block is a 70, so that's, I guess, pretty solid going from the get-go. And then you have awareness is a 54, but at this point, a lot of these guys are going to have low awareness. Going back a little bit farther, looks like Colts did post Cedric Dixon out of Rutgers, and he's a speedster. Probably not as good as or speedy as these receivers he's going to cover, but he is 93 acceleration, speed is 92, agility is 91, man coverage is already at 78, almost at the 80 mark. Play rec is a 53, so he probably won't be able to start him, but if he's planning on using him, I'm not sure what's his specialty on defense, but that's a good project player if he is looking to carry over a cornerback for Madden 19.
I'm going to take a flyer here. I just took Lawrence Rogers out of Southern Mississippi, 6'6", 22 years old, a 4.3 run stopper, 70 overall. He was ranked 178. I got him at 82, so it did tell me that I reached. But I took him because of his potential, right? He was very, very strong. So he ends up coming to me with 88 strength, 83 tackles, 76 block shed, 72 power moves. Don't love that. 75 speed isn't terrible. 83 acceleration. He's a normal development. So you know what? A guy with some potential there and some opportunity to maybe build him out a little bit. But he was worth it because of his strength to go ahead and take a flyer. And I also scrambled a little bit. There's so many things going on. It's even though I had a little bit of a draft board set up here, it was still a little.
Yeah, they can quickly go away.
Yeah, that 2 minutes is pretty fast. So we are moving right along here. Let me go ahead and get my draft board caught up. I don't think Duvall's here, but I know your pick is up next, and then Smash, and then the Tennessee Titans and Clive Vertigo. So yeah, these picks are moving right along. Before you know it, we're going to be off into the 4th round, and I don't know, guys. We're making really, really great time here. So we'll be to the preseason before we know it, and maybe even get some games in tonight. Wide receiver Phoenix. Let me see what I can find on him. Idarius Phoenix, 5'9". So yeah, one of these little tiny guys, 4.49 speed. So I'm not sure why you're picking him, but he is a good route runner. He can hold on to the ball in traffic, but he's definitely not a finished product. Then my guy that I talked about. Then left in Malty went over to the San Francisco 49ers. Let me see what I can find on him. Unfortunately, we lost our longtime San Francisco owner, old Meathead, snapped off one day and just had his fill of the game. I tried to talk him into just going auto and staying with us, and he ghosted us. I haven't seen him in weeks, and so we had to replace him, unfortunately. But we did bring in 2 old guys that I've known way back when, and the San Francisco 49ers got a pretty good pick here. A little bit of a risky pick. He did do 34 on the bench press, but he did run a 4.88 40. Pretty good tackler, but he's going to have to work on a second and third move, even coming off of the defensive end position, especially trying to get after the quarterback. But Malty definitely has some potential for the San Francisco 49ers, and old Meathead really did leave them in a great position with a really, really good team. And then you took a guy that I actually had on my list and almost took, but I've got too many linebackers now, so I stayed away from him. But Philip Mofer, 6'2", ran a 4.56 40, 22 on the bench press. don't you talk about your guy that you just took?
Yeah, I mean he's normal dev, so I guess it could be worse. But I reached. He was ranked 107 in True Talent, and I drafted him at 84, so not too bad. Overall 69. Still got a little bit of work to do. I drafted him mainly because he was the fastest receiver on the available. Speed is 85. Acceleration is 85. So he's got the speed that any linebacker will need. Hit power is 77. Not really liking that, but then again, I mean, I'm at this point I'm reaching. His awareness can go is at a low of 51. I didn't know you can go that low. 60 man zone is a low 60, so he's probably gonna be a actually I don't he's gonna be a practice squad member. I'll say that much. And I was kind of hoping I get it. It'd be like a sleeper pick, but it just didn't fall my way.
A couple of nice picks here. Wide receiver Okung, I really like that. He can catch everything, holds on to everything. A big guy. His speed shouldn't be terrible. It's probably going to be 88 to 90. Hopefully it's closer to 90 to 88. Do you got something on him?
Yeah, it looks like Ellis Okung, 6'4", 22. He's out at SAU, my alma mater. So I was actually had him on my draft board, but it says he's reached acceleration is 84, but his speed is 88. Catching 88, jumping 88, a spectacular catch is 87, but his route running is 64. So I think at this point we're all reaching, and not all of us can get those sleeper picks that we want. But it does get the size. It might be I guess a red zone threat if he's wanting to go that route. But
I would try to put in a special request and see if they let me move him to tight end. Right? Like, yeah, he's going to be one of the faster tight ends, but he's definitely not a finished product. But just don't see that kid getting a whole lot of playing time at receiver. I do like this left end Wilson that went over to the Tennessee Titans. 6'6", 26 on the bench press, but ran a 4.58 40. That's faster than some receivers in this draft. Really good power moves. He can really get after the quarterback, and he's a thumper when he gets there. Definite red chipper. Really, really nice pick for the Houston Texans. Defensive tackle Hayes. See what I can get on him.
Going back a few picks, Dolphins selected Jared Perry. I was actually looking at him, in the second round. It said he's reached, but not too far off. Overall 70, normal dev. Strength is up there at 87, but his play rec and it's not even showing his awareness, but his play rec is 55, so I bet his awareness is probably around that same level. But he has a solid backup.
Yep.
And looking.
Go ahead.
Looking back at Panthers running back Cameron George, he's a speed back, 21. His speed is at 95, but his acceleration is 89. So at this point, I'm not really sure which one is better. I guess acceleration, but he's just a speed back. Doesn't really have a whole lot of strength. No block shit or get away from those tackles. But his carrying is 77 and is 81, so he might can juke a few guys out.
I'm going to come back to this right outside linebacker Dunn, but I'm trying to find Cooley right here. Clayton Cooley, 6'1", another guy that can catch everything that's thrown his way. Ran a 4.49 40, so probably 87, 88 speed, 16. So. Don't love that pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that they're better receivers. If you're going to go slow, you might as well go with one of these better receivers. But I want to go back to this right outside linebacker, Dunn, that went to the Oakland Raiders. I love this pick here late in the third round. This is going to be a good player. A 4.7, 4.40, so he's not a burner by any stretch of the means. Hopefully, he can play like a 3-4 defensive end or stand-up outside linebacker. He did 30 in the bench press, ran a 4.47 shuttle. So a really good player that's got good power moves, can get after the quarterback, and some pretty nice pursuit at 6'2".
Yeah, going back a few picks ago, my division rival Raiders, he picked up a pretty solid receiver. I guess another speedy guy. this Adris Phoenix, acceleration 91, speed 91, but he's 5'9", so he doesn't have that kind of speed like some of the other guys. But packaging him up with Amari Cooper is going to be definitely, I guess, it's going to be painful for me to play against him, especially the way he focuses on the pass game now with Arnaud. He's got this his power back, running back, his power. I can't think of his name now, but it's going to be tough, to stop that offense now.
I don't know if you're picking for the Atlanta Falcons still, but he's going to be coming up in 3 picks. We're at the Cincinnati Bengals at Cincyberg at 92, the Jaguars at 93, the Falcons at 94, Mobley and his Jets at 95. Defensive Doyle, this is the guy I was talking about a little bit earlier. He goes to the Minnesota Vikings, so they get even stronger right up there in the middle. 31 in the bench press, so probably 87 to 89 on the bench press. He should be with his strength. He is a 6'7" defensive tackle, so he's going to have plenty of size right there in the middle. A good tackler. He really can bring the pain. It's just, can he get off of blocks fast enough? That's going to be the question for him. Left outside linebacker, Corbett. Let's see what I got on Mr. Corbett. Mario Corbett, 6'2", a red chipper, so I like that pick for the Cincinnati Bengals. He only ran a 4.75 40 to 27 on the bench press, but again, you could maybe move that guy to defensive end, maybe outside linebacker in a 3-4, but good power moves, can really bring it whenever he hits people, and he really knows how to not give up on the play. And this guy has a lot of energy. He really can come off of that edge. The problem is like, where does he play here in the OMFL, and where does he fit on the Cincinnati Bengals? I think that you have to place him at defensive end. We're seeing some defensive tackles here, starting another little run. Defensive tackle Brock goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's see what I got on Mr. Brock. Ray Brock, 6'4". Let me go ahead and mark him. A nice pursuit guy, a guy that is pretty good at getting off the shed, and a guy that you could bump outside because he ran a 4.87 40 for a big man, and he did 32 in the bench press. That is pretty spectacular for a big guy that can run that fast at 6'4". I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars do run a 4-3, and so look, even if you have to put him as that second defensive tackle or bump him to the outside, maybe let him play that right defensive end position in a 4-3. This guy can really get over the edge for a big guy, and if you can help give him just a couple of more moves and some more training, he could be an impact player, especially as we move to All Madden. That clock is going to be moving quicker than ever. You're really going to have to get the ball out. You're going to have to really manage your offensive line correctly. And Brock could be one of these guys that could step in as a late third rounder and be able to make a difference here. We're at the Atlanta Falcons at 94, the New York Jets at 95, the Seahawks at 96, and then we flip it over to the 4th round. And the Atlanta Falcons take wide receiver Blake. I'm not sure if Dawson was able to make that pick or not, but hopefully when he comes back, he can let us know. Let me see what I can find on Mr. Blake. I can give you what I've got. Jimmy Blake for the Atlanta Falcons, 5'8", so he's a little too tiny fella, but he ran the 4.3 40. The Falcons over the last couple of years have moved to finding faster, quicker receivers more than size. I mean, got rid of Julio, his days of having Dez, which he had a couple of years back, right? Those days are gone, and he really has moved to the fast receivers that can stretch the field, because with this running game that the Atlanta Falcons possess, he really has that opportunity to open it up and push you down the field. And he's going to have to... Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. Let me go back here. I was trying to skip these next 2 picks because I know these guys are not with us. I mean, they're with us, but they're not with us, if you know what I mean. Left end McClain goes to the Jets, and left tackle Gudigla, I don't know. He goes to the Seattle Seahawks. See what I can get on these guys for you. Evan G, we're going to call him, goes to the Seattle Seahawks. 6'7", more of a run blocker and impact blocker than anything else. He did 30 in the bench press, but more impressively, he ran a 4.8640. So, yeah, on those toss, the sweeps, and even screens, he's going to be able to get out there and make some nice blocks for you. Left defensive end McLean. Gilbert McLean, 6'4", rated to go in the second round, and here he falls to the very bottom of the third. He ran a 4.6540, so pretty speedy. A 28 on the bench press. More of a finesse guy, but he really can bring the pain. He's just going to have to work on everything. I mean, his entire game is going to have to be brought up. He's going to have to play much, much better. Wide receiver cross. This was a guy that I had marked as just like a late round guy that could be in line with these other guys that have went. He ran a 4.3140. He did 14 on the bench press, 5'10". So if you're going to get that really super fast guy, he needs to have some speed. I like Cross. That's going to be a good player for the Colts. 5'10", a good spectacular catch, good hands. Cross is the type of player that Forbes was. Like, this is exactly about where I got Forbes, and he turned in to be a Hall of Famer for me. Love, love, love that pick for the Colts. And I think I've been saying that a lot. The Colts have had a really solid draft. And kudos for them for doing their homework and being ready for this. Cooper, free safety, goes over to the Detroit Lions. Let me see what I got on Mr. Cooper. DeAndre Cooper, 6'1". I love his size at that free safety position. Ran a 4.6240, so he's not nearly as fast as Weddenburn, who went early in the first round. He did do 26 on the bench press. Another big-time thumper. Has to work on the zone coverage, has to work on tackling and his formation, or should I say his technique, and just being more consistent with his tackling skills. He's going to have to also work on covering players out of the backfield when he goes man. But luckily, as a free safety, he's most of the time going to be playing that zone. So we got the Baltimore Ravens at 99 here, the Browns at 100. Crazy Man and his Rams at 101, and then back to Dwayne and the Falcons at 102. So lots of big picks coming here. We're already in the fourth round, and guys, we're on the home stretch. I think within the next hour and a half, we'll have this puppy wrapped up, and that's really, really good for us. I mean, we're only an hour and 20 minutes deep, but 20 minutes of that was the pre-draft show, so we're only an hour deep. It's pretty good for us. Right outside linebacker Cross goes to the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see what I got on him. Fisher Cross, 6'3", nice power move guy. A guy that can never give up on a play. He really chases it down from the backside. Strong at the point of attack with his hands, but only ran a 4.7240 at the combine. That's going to be a little tough. Again, he's in line with the rest of the guys that we've been talking about, defensive end, and a 4.3 or stand up in a 3.4. Wide receiver Melton goes over to the Cleveland Browns. Now, he picked a receiver early in last draft, and it didn't really quite work out for him. He was really slow, but he was still able to make him make plays. Melton might be along the same lines as that, but he's getting him in the fourth round. A blue chipper prospect, but big size, 6'1", going to be a little slow. Only ran a 4.4940. Plenty big, strong enough, really good outside on the blocks, has big, strong hands. He can take a hit. He's spectacular in his highlight reel. He's just got a very big highlight reel with the type of catches that he's able to make. He's got a big radius, so Melton should be a playmaker for them. The problem is always going to come down to the speed. What can you do with that speed? And then coming right behind him, Del Greco, wide receiver, going over to the Rams, almost an exact copy, cut, and paste. A little bit slower at 4.5, 140. Not quite as strong with his hands, but very much the same type of player. He can really hold on to the ball and take a hit, has overall really good hands. What I like about him a little bit better than Melton was his shuttle. He ran a 4.07 shuttle and a 6.793 cone. So just a little bit quicker, can jump it just has a little bit more overall athleticism, but is going to struggle with the speed of this game. Then the Atlanta Falcons take strong safety Gregory. Now the Atlanta Falcons is big on his safeties. He loves finding safeties that can come in and bring the pain, and this guy is going to be that type of player. 5'10", ran a 4.58 40, so he should have some nice speed, but 26 on the bench press, so he's a big, strong kid. He's going to have to work on his tackling technique. Finishing blocks was his big thing. He's just letting, blocks, just he's finishing tackles. He just lets those tackles go too soon. Sometimes he gives up on plays, won't run a play down, but when he comes across the middle, when a receiver comes across the middle, Gregory's going to thump him. The problem with Gregory is he's playing strong safety. He's going to have to learn how to cover the tight ends in this league. He definitely will have the speed to do it, but he's going to have to learn the technique of covering these tight ends much better than he did in college. But a kid that does definitely have some potential. So we're moving right along here. Pick 103, pick number 7 here in the 4th round. I'm going to take a little sip of water here. Check the chat real quick. It will pause the stream. But yeah, don't worry about it. Raymond Melton actually has way more speed than I thought. So good pick there for the Cleveland Browns. Let me get back over the stream. So we'll unpause for you guys. The Dallas Cowboys pick is in. Halfback Compton. I really like that pick for them. I said halfback, but I meant fullback Compton. He's one of the fullbacks that, again, I had my eye on. I think that there was a lot of good fullbacks, you should say. Larry Compton, 6'2", a nice impact blocker, the fastest fullback in this draft. I was hoping he would fall to my pick in a couple of picks. Ran a 4.8 40, did 26 in the bench press. I like him. Had a potential superstar fullback if there is such a thing. But look, in the day and age that we live in, you need to have a good fullback that will get in the hole and clean up some of the mess that your offensive line has left to be cleaned up. Right in Knox. Craig Knott, 6'4", a kid that doesn't give up on plays, is really nice at the power attack, has good throw off, stiff arm moves. 26 on the bench press worries you a little bit, but if he's in a 4.3, it should be perfect, fine enough. Ran a 4.79 40. Strong safety Clayton went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Defensive tackle Hodges went over to the Denver Broncos. It sounds like Mr. Dawson's back with me.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was trying to help Dakota out and make his picks, and then the game froze on me. It's on the main
that's
screen.
not fun.
I missed his second pick. I think he picked a receiver on. He said he had a draft board set up, or he did on that one guy, and then I made that third pick of his. Let me go and see what he.
While you're looking at him, I'm going to talk about Clayton that just went to the Kansas City Chiefs 2 picks ago. More of a zone guy, but nice thumping power. Should be a good player there for the Kansas City Chiefs. 5'10", ran a 4.60 40. Should be in like that 85 and up range. 19 on the bench press. So pretty good player, especially here late in the 4th round, or early in the 4th round, I should say.
Yeah, and for the Falcons, the 4th round they picked Deshaun Gregory, which is considered as a reach, 166 in true talent, but he drafted at 102. So I think at this point all these are reaches. Overall, is 72. You know how much he loves his safeties, and his hit power is 87, acceleration is 92, and speed is 87. Those are the core 3 attributes that a lot of us focus on for safeties. His play rec is a little bit low, and his tackle is even low, but his tackle is at 74. But I think at this point, the way the Falcons are set up, he's just going to use him more or less as a practice squad member.
Yep, and still a lot of potential there, right? It should be should be able to make an impact even on this team. I was just trying to do my draft board real quick because I know my pick isn't too far away here. Let me see if we can catch it up. Defensive tackle Hodges went to the Denver Broncos. Defensive tackle Floyd goes over to the Chicago Bears. And then cornerback Hackney goes over to... Oh, it froze up. Sorry. Cornerback goes over to the Green Bay Packers. Let me see if I can find some of these players and we can break them down a little bit. Stanley Floyd, 6'0", goes to the Bears. 6'4", I should say. I'm sorry, 22 in the bench press, ran a 5:07.40. The 22 in the bench press for a defensive tackle is a little scary. I do like his hit power, but he is definitely a project this late, and I wonder, it's got to be the size is the only thing I'm thinking, is that's why he would go with that player, because there's not a whole lot else there that would kind of excite me about him. And then, again, staying in the vein of the cornerbacks that will be drafted, it's going to be the speed guys. Morris Hackenberry, 6'1", doesn't do much well. Probably best at the press. Is really good with his hands. Has nice footwork. Ran a 4.42.40, which is good. 21 in the bench press. But really struggles in man coverage and can get lost in zone coverage. So definitely is going to need some help before he is a starting project.
Yeah, I'm looking back a little bit. A few picks ago, the Rams, they selected a receiver, Rayshawn Del Greco, and 22. His acceleration going to be a 93, speed 89, so a jump in is 95. So that's really a good pick this late in the draft. He said he's reached, but I don't think he did at this time. Overall 70, so a nice pick for the Rams.
Yeah, Loeffler, the center, goes over to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I've bragged a lot about their draft, but this one kind of scratches my head. Now, really good at the point of attack, has really good hands, can open up holes in the run game, but is going to struggle in the pass game. But my biggest worry for him is that he only did 23 in the bench press, so he's got a lot of work to do to get strong with his upper body and his lower body. He's going to have to really grow into a professional's build because right now he just doesn't have the strength to be able to hang with the big boys, and I just think that there were better players there. The draft is not the draft. The stream is going to pause here. I'm just trying to check my messages. Crazy. I appreciate the photos, but you don't have to send them any longer, my friend, just because I can't post them, and I actually can't even read them because, as you can see, then the draft pauses, and I don't want to do that. So you don't have to go through that, but I do appreciate, though. Please post those in the main chat. I'm sure that Dawson can help me read some of these off as he has time, as he's here tonight. We see another quarterback go off the board, Lewan. Yeah, I guess Lewan. Let me see what I got on Lewan.
Just a reminder, you got a few picks ahead.
Oh, here we go. Everett Lewan. That's a head scratcher of a pick. I think there are better quarterbacks out there. You know, when your throwing power is the second one listed and it's a B minus, you're probably not going to be on my draft board. That's all I really got to say about this kid. I do like his size at 6'3", but he leaves a lot to be desired whenever it comes to just all of the skills that it's going to take to play quarterback. I mean, that's definitely going to be a practice squad guy, maybe even cut. I just don't know what you do with an 87, 86, 85 throwing power quarterback, even at 6'3". There's just too much there that you can't work on. That I just don't know that that's a good pick, but probably a computer pick. And look, again, if you're not willing to put in the homework and set up a draft board, then you're going to get what you get, right? And if that's
right,
if that's what it gives you, then that's what it gives you.
You're one pick away, but like you said, for the draft board, they go by quick. You think, you're finding these sleeper picks, but they're on everybody's draft board. So I think I started the draft with 30 or 35 people players, and I think I got like 5 left. And but But yeah, I picked a quarterback last year. He was really fast, or fast forward quarterback, but his throw power is like in the mid 80s. So you really can't do anything with that. I just threw him in the practice squad, and he's been on the practice squad. And he's probably going back on the practice squad once we go back, once we get into the season, week one. If we go back to a few picks ago, Colin, it looks like he picked a right end, Craig Knox. He said he reached, and then, but he's a balanced 4.3. He's got those power moves already at 84, acceleration is 82, speed at 81. Block shedding, if I can see that right, is at 74. So he's still got a little bit of work on that, but I can see him just using it as more or less as a backup, or build him up, or and leave him in the practice squad on the squad list.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take a flyer here. Yeah, I mean, again, like I think you've said it several times. There's not a whole lot left. I'm definitely just grabbing off of speed. I'm going to take wide receiver Seth Eckles. Ekless? I don't know. Let me see what I can tell you about Mr. Seth. Definitely just a speed guy, right? I kind of knew that going into this, but definitely can help do returns and stuff for me. 5'10", 188 out of Missouri. Love my SEC guys. 96 speed, 73 acceleration, 71 catch, 91 acceleration, I should say. 80 catching traffic, which I love. 80 spectacular catch. 83 jump. Dumb as bricks at 53. But you know what? This late in the draft gives me a speed guy. Ooh, and it's right back to me.
At this point, as far as receivers, they just got to catch the ball.
That's it. That's all you need, right?
Yeah.
And
And with a spectacular catch and your other catching attributes, he should be a good sleeper pick for you going into the season. Look back in the Dolphins. A few picks ago, he picked the tight end, Ashley Harmon. Overall, 72. It was a good pick. Ranked 51st in true talent, and ended up getting him at 111. So that was a solid. He's a blocking tight end. So, but I'm not sure if that's what Kevin was looking for, or what. But he's got a solid tight end, a blocking tight end.
yeah, and I'm kind of, because I do have a little bit of a draft board left here. I'm trying to decide exactly, what direction I want to go. I've kind of limited down to a halfback or left end. I was looking at some cornerbacks. There's still a quarterback that's out there that I think has some potential. Uh, just trying to decide, which direction to kind of go here. It is my selection, so let me see. Let me see what I'm going to pick. I do like how right you build these draft boards and you do the homework, but then sometimes they disappear. Right, you go to pick them and they're gone.
Yeah.
I took another flyer, strictly speed guy. Right, just trying to see what I might be able to pick up here. 5'10" Kenneth Frazier, 221 out of Oregon, 93 speed, only 86 acceleration. 77 carry, 83 carry or ball carry vision, which I do like. 74 truck, which I do like. 67 stiff arm, 71 spin, 74 juke. So you know what? Probably going to be a practice squad guy, or maybe I just keep him right and to do some kick returns, possibly for me. You just never know. That's really what we're all kind of starting to fill out, right? We're starting to look to see who can play special teams. That's going to make a difference this year, especially in the kicking game, because all Madden, it's faster, and it's going to take us a little while as everybody kind of learns how to adjust. So it's worth taking some flyers on some players, just in case, right? Just in case you're able to find that special teams player that is able to get you, a return or two a year that could be the difference in making the playoffs or not making the playoffs. Let me go. Let me do a little catching up here. Tight end Harmon went to the Dolphins. Halfback Carlisle went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right tackle Molds went to the Washington Redskins. And right tackle Castellanzo went to the San Francisco 49ers. And then left outside linebacker Mingo goes to the Cardinals. Reeves, free safety, goes to the Houston Texans. And
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I forgot to mention that Smash said we can skip him, so I saw we wasted a minute and 30, so my bad on that. But going forward, we can skip him on that. But it looks like you did pick up Mingo. Not really sure what his stats are looking like.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my draft board to update here so I can catch up some of these picks. All right, here we go. I think we did quarterback. Let me see if we did the tight end.
Yeah, it looks like for Mingo, he's was projected undrafted, but we all know how that goes. And you just kind of just taking a flyer here. He must have his draft board up, or the computer just picked him up a random. But he's 6'4", 22, got some power moves. It should be in the 80s. He did 29 reps on the bench, so that's pretty good for a linebacker. Did 4.8 in the 40. So a little slow, but at this rate, majority of these linebackers are in that mid 80 range, or even the low 80s.
I really like this right tackle Molds that went. What was that? Where'd he go? He went to the Redskins at 113. One of the blue chippers that were left, 30 on the bench press more. Really good with his hands and feet. Really good, and he's going to have to fine-tune a few things of the run game, but it's really the pass game where he's going to have to really work on. But I think definitely going to be a player that he has that can make a difference for him. And then right tackle Simon Castellanos, 6'6", did 27 in the bench press. More of an impact blocker and pass blocker than anything else, but still overall is going to need a lot of work before he's able to find some playing time there for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, it looks like Jason just posted his pick, Anton Reeves, free safety out of Minnesota. And it's a good pick. 76 in true talent, and drafted him at 118. Acceleration is 91. Speed is 88. A zone is already a 78, so that's pretty good for a rookie. Then hit power, it is a 76, but depending on how JC uses them over in Tennessee, he might be a sleeper pick, like you said, as far as knowing the kickoff, working on special teams, getting those either those breakaways on field goals, those blocks, or anything as far as if he uses them for special teams.
Defensive tackle Hughes goes over to the Houston Texans, I should say. See what I got on Mr. Hughes here. Sherwin Hughes, what a name! 6'4", a guy with good feet, can really get after the quarterback. Did 31 of the bench press, strong with his upper body, and ran a 4.89 40 for a defensive tackle. Pretty fast for a big guy, but overall just has to work on his game from start to finish. But you're late in the fourth round, so it's not like you're looking for a starting, defensive tackle to come in. You're just taking a flyer for a guy that could possibly be a good player for you. And this guy has the athleticism to work with that you could get there. Keegan Worrell, cornerback, goes over to the New York Giants, 5'11", really good in zone coverage, can get lost in man coverage, and needs to work on his strength. He can be blocked fairly easy, and overall only ran a 5.9 40, so probably could be moved to the free safety position for the New York Giants. Now, they've done that before in the past, and it's worked out well. I've done that before in the past, and it's worked out extremely well, especially if they have nice man coverage skills. You can put them at strong safety and really help you with the tight end coverage situation that can be a problem with some teams. Halfback Robertson goes over to the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's see what I got on him. Rodriguez Robertson, 6 foot flat halfback, ran a 4.44 There's a mouthful. 21 in the bench press. Has really good moves in the hole. Can be slippery. Just gonna have to work on his overall vision of seeing the hole open up and being able to hit that with his entire speed. That was kind of his problem back in the college. But again, you're getting him late in the fourth quarter. It's a nice pick for an already pretty dangerous offensive powerhouse team in the Cincinnati Bengals, where he picked up for Houday many seasons ago and hasn't looked back. That number one offense, he's probably overall in the last 2 Maddens has had the best offense in the league. Now, I know that the Seattle Seahawks have been dynamic the past 4 seasons or so, but overall for the past 2 Maddens, it's been the Cincinnati Bengals who've been the offense that people have had to watch out for. Fleming. Let's see, we got LaMarcus Fleming, 6'3" left guard. Did 28 on the bench press, so a little weak-handed. He's going to have to be stronger, especially at the guard position, but maybe you bump him out to a tackle position. I think he is definitely going to be a pass blocker, so maybe he's a left tackle in this league instead of a left guard. Really good on the impact blocking. 5'1", 440, so not super duper fast. Overall needs a little bit of a work, but a good red chip prospect that possibly could find his way into the starting lineup later this year. Cornerback DeAndre Gooch, what a name. 6'2". The Minnesota Vikings love those big receivers. Again, another guy with the potential to move to the back half of that defense and be a free safety or strong safety. 4'5", 40, 13 in the bench press, so he's pretty weak, but more of a zone coverage than a man coverage guy, and possibly with that size be able to move back some and be able to be a primary backup player in the back end of that defense. Halfback Jefferson. Let's see what I got on Mr. Jefferson. Ray Jefferson. Oh, sorry, my draft board messed up on me here. Ray Jefferson, 6'0". He ran a 4.50 40. Did 21 on the bench press. A big, strong guy. He's going to be strong in the hole. He's going to be hard to bring down. He holds on to the ball. Doesn't fumble often. Could be that thumper that the Oakland Raiders were in need of. Strong safety Hines goes over to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, and then it's back to my pick.
Yeah, it looks like for Hines, Jamal Hines, excuse me, he's 22, 6'2". So he's got the height, to cover those big receivers down the field. Did 22 reps on the bench, 4.55 as far as the 40 goes. So he does have a little bit of speed. I'm not sure if Brady is actually drafting or if he has his draft board, but if he does post a pick, I would guess that's a pretty solid pick. This time, going into the 4th round or going into the 5th round, excuse me, a late 4th round pick.
I like this quarterback. Now I know that you guys said he wasn't. We don't think he's drafting, but Max.
Oh yeah, he is.
This quarterback for the Packers, I was thinking about grabbing him with my next pick. So tell me about Max.
Yeah, Max. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last Pettigoat. But anyways, he's 6'6", 22 out of UCF. I guess those are the real national champions. Then you got he's a strong arm and 93 throw power, 85 throw on the run, short accuracy is 84, and kind of blurry, but looks like his play action is 72, speed 72, but that's kind of understanding with him being a 6'6" guy in the backfield. He's not going to be able to outrun anybody. I see your pick is now, but it's actually saying it's a good pick, 125 in true value, and he drafted at 126. So he did him. I guess got a value pick right here.
Yeah, I went with Perry Gilbert. This was one of the other guys I was talking about earlier when I made my pick. He's a 4.3 run stopper out of Boise State. It said that I reached 176. I got him at 128, but of course it's going to say that for a lot of us. 89
Yeah.
strength, 78 block shed, which I like. 82 tackles, 73 speed, 79 acceleration. Possibly a guy that I could bump inside if I needed to. He's 285, so he's not a massive guy, but at 24 years old, 6'5", he will add a little bit of size there. And again, I'm not having a home run draft. I think my problem started early when I wasted the 32nd pick on a guy that probably won't even make the team. But again, all of us were just taking flyers right with this late in this Madden. There's most of us have our teams where we need them to be, or we filled those needs early in this draft. And guys now are just taking opportunities to possibly find their import that they can take with them.
Yeah, speaking of as far as my draft goes, it's not going as well either. I made a few picks or took a few chances early on. I had to let my backup tight end go, and I ended up picking the tight end in the first round, my first pick. He's pretty solid. He's a potential import for me. Just got to see how it goes throughout the season. Clayton Darkwa, he's out of Texas, 21. So he's pretty solid as far as acceleration for a tight end. Run block is pretty up there. And then I kind of just had to go in the flyer for my next pick, which is a quarterback. I had to find a solid backup, and I felt like I did. I guess that's my best pick in my opinion, because his throw power is 92 and short accuracy is right in the low 80s. Not as good as what a lot of quarterbacks are, but he's about as good as what my starting quarterback is. So I can use him. I guess Mike can even start him depending on how well I can use him over Dobbs.
Cornerback Parano and free safety Papanganda went to the Lions, Colts, and then Lions. So while I'm kind of looking up these picks, I think that it would be interesting. Like when you think of, trying to make sure I got the right pick here. When you think of your import, what is your mindset about who you're thinking to bring back with you or to take over with you, I should say, because there's been a lot of concern and a lot of people wondering, a lot of maneuvering, a lot of talk. What do you think when you think about your import and who you're going to take with you?
Well, yeah, for me, see, last cycle, I imported just went with a safe bet and went with a lineman, and he's been pretty solid. He's been starting on the line the whole cycle. So that's really the safe bet if I can't find anybody. More or less, kind of looking for a defensive player. In my opinion, I think I can, with the rookies coming up and with the way the free agency plays out, I can always find a receiver or a halfback or even a quarterback. I guess I don't really have anybody right now set that would be good enough for me to replace some of the upcoming rookies and so forth on that. But I'm kind of looking. I guess like everybody was, looking for a solid linebacker to import over. But if I can't find anybody, I might just have to go with the safe bet and go with a lineman. I just feel like, just the way they are, sometimes they come cheap if we don't get their overall up so high. But in the end, it's more or less I want to try to go with the safest bet, and either go with either a defensive linebacker, or offensive line.
Yeah, I find it really interesting how many people were truly concerned. I think especially Outlaw. I know how concerned he was about what he was going to do, who was going to take with him, how he was going to do it. And I think that you can screw up your team, right? Planning for an import,
Right.
you stick to your draft board, and then when the season's over, you take a look at your team and you take the best player with you, right? I just don't think it's something that you draft far. It's something you worry about when it's all said and done.
Right, yeah, and I already know a lot of guys. They already have their import player who they want to carry over, and so they're not really worried about it in this draft. And I really don't know who I'm going to carry over, but it's not going to make or break. I guess my team going into the cycle. I mean, it'd be nice to have that extra addition, a player coming over. But at the end of the day, if I can't find the right defensive player, I'm just going to go with for linemen and use them because just the way I guess the way we can improve on linemen is not necessarily it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take as many skills or attributes to level up compared to a halfback or a receiver or even a quarterback because a lot of XP training I guess it takes a lot at this point of the cycle so I might just, like you said, at the end of the day, at the end of the season, I'll just find, I'll just go with the best player
Are,
that's available.
are you picking for Dwayne again? Because I think it's his pick.
No, I filled up his draft
I
board,
got you.
and he's going to go on a whim there. But speaking of a few picks, we got the Rams. He picked the first punter of the night, so I had him
I
on the
seen
draft
that.
board. Blair Sawyer. I actually need a punter myself, and it says a good pick. Keep power 95, which I think is probably one of the highest of any other punter in the last few drafts. Accuracy is 84, so a nice addition for Rams if he actually did make that pick. And I think he did. Yeah, he did because he posted the pick. So, yeah.
Yeah, left tackle Shafe went to the 49ers, then Sawyer over to the Rams. Tate, cornerback, went to the Patriots. I like that Tate pick, but again, he's slow. A 4.5 840. I think he's definitely a candidate to be moved to free or strong safety. And we are at pick number 7 in the 5th round, 135 overall with the Atlanta Falcons. I will say this: I didn't stop it or I didn't skip his pick just because I wanted to get some of this stuff out and use some of this time to do that. But if anybody here would like to start to come on and talk about your draft board, um, let Dawson know. I have him with me right now. I know he may need to leave, but let him know in a PM or in the chat, and we'll definitely let you unmute yourself, and we'll do a little interview with you about your off season, about your draft, about your team, and about the outlook. I know that a lot of people are either scared, excited, a little bit of everything about this last season. Not quite sure what it's going to be like. It may end up being a complete disaster, but it's definitely worth the opportunity to give it a shot. And then the Atlanta Falcons just took Heath Obenberger, 6 foot, 24 in the bench press, only ran a 4.8740. So you wonder why he wanted him on his draft board, but a decent tackler, but just doesn't do anything amazingly well. I think that if you're gonna take a flyer on an outside linebacker, that there was slightly faster, better players. I really like Rainey Perry. I think Rainey Perry would have been a better pick if you're going to go with an outside linebacker in that position.
Yeah, and that's partial my fault. So sorry, Dakota. I just went in there and I looked at a few guys. I looked at the combine and showing what's their top. I guess
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the players, and I forgot. I think he was like one of the strongest ones. So I selected him, and I want to say he was the bottom. So I guess he has nobody left on his draft board. So I
Yeah.
might have to go back in there and pick a few other guys for him. So, but
Don't be sorry at all. You did a good job. I appreciate it. And yeah, you just keep it up for the rest of the night if you can.
yeah.
The best guy or I should say, the guy with the best name in this draft was just drafted over to the Carolina Panthers. Mr. Long Morris, 5'11" halfback, goes over to the Carolina Panthers. 4'4", 240, 19 in the bench press. Actually has a really good spin move. Has pretty good vision. He's going to need to work on his how he carries the ball. He carries it a little too high and can often lead to fumbles, but the Carolina Panthers are taking a lot of opportunities to draft halfbacks here to hopefully find some guys that could fill in the gap that they seem to have had. Halfback Witzel goes over to the Kansas City Chiefs. Cornerback Woods goes over to the Denver Broncos. See what I got on a couple of these guys for you. Clayton Wentzel, 6-foot
And
halfback, ran a 4.45 40, 23 in the bench press. I like that. Again, another guy with a good juke move and can be a little slippery in the hole. It's going to need some work on his ball carry vision and his carry, but not a bad pick for the Kansas City Chiefs.
yeah, it looks like he just posted a picture, and he is a straight speed back. So it looks like KC is going all speed on his offense this season. He picked a
Yeah.
speedy receiver in the first round, and this Clayton, he's 93 acceleration, 91 speed. So yeah, he's a speed back, but that's about it because his carrying is 75 and his spin, stiff arm, trucking, all of them are in the mid 60s. So he's a straight speed guy. So I want to watch out for for this guy.
Audrey Woods goes over to the Denver Broncos. I had him on my board. I actually like this kid. More of a press guy. I love his size, 6'1". He ran a 4.4 140, 18 on the bench press. He's going to have to work on everything else. Everything else is a bit of a project, but at least he has some intangibles that are built in there that you can't work on. You can't work on size. You can't really work on speed. And so definitely a player that comes with some things that you can work on. Should be an interesting pick this late in the draft. Blake Pollock goes over to the Chicago Bears, 6'5" left tackle. He did 25 on the bench press. He only ran a 5.2 140. More of an impact blocker. Has pretty good hands, pretty good feet, but does struggle with his pass technique. He can give up too many sacks as he has a hard time getting comfortable with edge rushers that can tend to get around him too often. Wide receiver Dacus goes over to the Green Bay Packers. If I had to guess on the surface, I'd say this guy is a speedster. Let's see, Mr. Harmon Dacus, 5'9". Oh yeah, ran a 4.37 40, 13 on the bench press. Yeah, I mean, look, the Green Bay Packers, they don't hide who they are. This is who they are. They love their speed guys. They love the guys that they can just bring onto the field with a lot of athleticism, and it can lead to some high-scoring games. I mean, he can put up points with the best of them, but it can also lead him to giving up too many points, giving up too many things. So yeah, it's just, yeah. He's posting a picture now. I'm not going to stay on it. Let me reconnect my controller here.
Yeah.
I know it's paused, but again, if you guys would love, we'd love to hear from you. If you want to talk about your draft, if you want to talk about what's going on with your team, please just let Dawson know because we'd love to hear about it. Dawson, why don't you finish reading off some of the stuff that I didn't get to see? I see that he is a straight speed receiver, but is there anything there to work with?
Yeah, he's just your average speed guy. You got acceleration 96, speed at 94. Jumping is at 84. Those are really, I guess, the key three attributes, for top ones for Dacus. One thing is, I guess he needs to learn a playbook. I guess hire a tutor because his awareness is 56.
Well, all you got to tell this guy is go run straight. Just run past everybody. We'll throw you the ball.
And we know Priest. He's already got a few other speedy receivers already on his roster.
And running backs, and cornerbacks, and quarterbacks, and anything he can get his hands on.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting if Rodgers can make, I guess, one last run, and especially with his weapons he has around him. It's going to be, especially on defense. I think he's been, I guess he's been picking cornerbacks as well.
Priest might throw 55 interceptions this season. I mean, that might be a thing. He is an abundant giver of interceptions, and going to All Madden, that may be a struggle for him.
Yeah, that's going to be a big killer for myself as well. Is when we go to All Madden, the interceptions is going to go up, and sometimes I was throwing 3 or 4 a game when it was in All Pro. So I can't imagine how many I'm going to throw in some games.
Yeah, those windows are definitely tighter, and the time is definitely a whole lot shorter. But I do think that people will get used to the speed. Haynes Overton goes over to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 6'1", a thumper, a good tackler, a guy that can get after the ball. Pretty good player that was left. Did 30 on the bench press, so not going to be a superstar like speedster, but overall really good player. And that's what you got to have on your team. You just got to add to the players that you have.
It looks like we do have an owner that wants to come up, Maniac. He wants to come and talk about his draft.
Let's
So
do
just
this.
want to get ready.
Let's do this, Maniac. My pick is coming up in 3 picks, so let me go ahead and make my pick. That way I can actually think about the questions that I'm going to ask you. So just give me a couple of picks here. We'll bring you in and let you talk about your team. Now, Maniac had to take a little bit of a break just because of life and some super unfortunate situations, and so he did give up his always top NFC team in the Dallas Cowboys, and he went. He just had to give him up, his favorite team, and he was a powerhouse. He was one of the top teams, but he was able to rejoin us this past season, and he's quickly turning those New England Patriots back into the powerhouse that they were when Cincy had them. Now this team drastically doesn't look like a team that fits him and his style, but look, he's already making moves. He freaking sent that stupid running back over to the NFC East or South with the Atlanta Falcons that I have to now deal with. But look, he gathered him some nice picks this draft. He made some nice moves in the offseason. He's added to that team, and the New England Patriots will be contending once again in the AFC. And I can't wait to kind of talk to him about it. I just want to make my pick here. Is anybody posting any more photos of their players? The Buccaneers,
No,
the Buccaneers
not
just
lately.
took another 5'9" receiver. I don't know what their love is with these guys, but Carmelo.
I think he's at work, so I think next time we can skip him. So I'm not sure if he had him on his draft board or if it was a computer pick.
Probably a
But
computer pick.
and it looks like Cincy he's up, but the way it seems he is not at the draft.
I don't know that he's on. Is he online?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, he's not online.
I'm going to let it tick down just because I need this extra 30 seconds to figure out what I'm going to do. So.
Gotcha.
There's definitely some safeties out there that looks like they can still, make plays here. There's a fullback that's been teasing me. I've had him on my draft board for a while now, but it's like I don't know that I want to take an opportunity to draft a fullback or not. But definitely a good impact blocking fullback. So I don't know. We'll see here. I got to make a decision because the clock is a ticking. I'm going to take the fullback. All right, so I'm going to take Glenn Hickok, fullback out of Clemson, a blocking guy. Ooh, 81 overall. He was ranked number 2 in true talent. I got him at 146. Normal Devo, but 90 impact blocking, 77 run blocking. This guy is an animal. Too bad he can't run. Only 69 speed, 78 acceleration, 81 strength, 74 agility. I have a pretty good fullback, but this guy looks like he might be able to come in here and help me out a little bit here. I love that 90 impact blocking. Hell, I might even stick him at left tackle and let him just go ahead and play left tackle for me.
Yeah, he sounds like a good mirror, I guess, compared to what my fullback I had to let go in the free agency, Plusney. He was slow, but he was, like you said, 90 impact blocking. Run block was up there. He was just a straight up blocking fullback.
All right, Mr. Maniac, go ahead and unpause yourself. I know I'm going to lose Dawson here. It is your pick in one pick, Dawson. I'm not going to skip ahead because I'm going to give you an opportunity to look at your draft board. So go ahead, Maniac, unpause yourself. Introduce yourself back to the crew. Now, of course, Maniac used to be able to team up with Dawson and Dwayne and myself as we would do the podcast each and every week. And so my hope is that once life settles down, he'll be able to do that once again. So let's welcome in the soccer champion coach of the world. Congratulations on the soccer championship for your little girl, right? I think I have that right. And
that is correct. That is correct.
Welcome back to the crew, my buddy.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on. Join the show. You and Dawson did a great job.
All right, so you took back a team that was a powerhouse many seasons ago. But, of course, ever since Cincyberg has left them, they have not seen their powerhouse days in quite some time. So why don't you just talk us through what you seen when you took over that team? What was your initial reactions? Of course, you hammered me pretty good in a game. I think it was your very first game coming back. So clearly I was able to help you knock off that rust pretty quickly. But what'd you think about your team as you had a few games to play around with them?
Well, there's some can be used going forward. This being the last season, stuff. I do like the fact that I got a good young quarterback that's got some talent there. He still needs to be built up a little bit, but somebody that I can use going into this season and be competitive. There was some guys on the team that were getting a little old and stuff, and so trying to clean house a little bit, try to get younger. I did see Zeke over to Atlanta. I'm sorry about that, but
no, you're not.
I was trying to get some extra picks, and Zeke wanted lots of money, and I had to try to manage the cap the best I could to get some decent players at some other positions.
Well, let's talk about that Zeke trade real quick. What were you able to get in return for him once it was said and done? I know that you gathered some picks from him, but what were you able to turn those picks into? And were you happy with how that trade is going to end up working out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a Cowboy, and I hate getting rid of any of my guys and stuff, but this is Madden, and so it's okay to get rid of those guys. Obviously, I was able to turn Zeke into Atlanta's pick number 30. It wasn't real high. We did swap, I believe, third round picks as well, and then also got a starting cornerback from Dwayne, which he was pretty decent on the cornerback side, and I'm pleased on how that's going to turn out. Cornerbacks that I picked up. With that pick that I got from Atlanta, I actually turned it into running back Bernard Boy. He's not your typical Ezekiel Elliott type player, but it's something I kind of wanted to experiment a little bit. This being the final season and stuff. He's 22 years old, 6'1", 231-pound power back out of Notre Dame. He's got a little wiggle to him, 89 speed, 86 acceleration, 92 carry, 86 trucking, and 91 stiff arm. So he's going to get down, get dirty, get me those yards down in the red zone, green zone, whatever you want to call it. But he was a good pick for that position. I was kind of surprised he was still there. But with the first round being so heavy on the defensive side with all the linebackers and stuff, I kind of lucked out on that one. So.
What were your kind of thoughts going into free agency? Did you lose a lot of stuff? Did you go in there with a lot of money? Were you just looking to fill holes? What was kind of your view of going into free agency? And then how did free agency actually turn out?
Free agency, I did pretty well. I did a couple of guys to help me on, especially on the defensive side. I did pick up a couple of filler backs. I picked up Abdullah. He was going to be, at that point in time, he was going to be my starting back going into the season, but it's going to change now with the addition of McCoy. I was still pretty cap strapped because of some of the cutting and stuff. I had some guys that were just like really old, and they got some big contracts, and they were getting real slow. And I had to bite the bullet, get rid of them to make the space for guys that was bringing in stuff. overall, I think I filled my needs. I think I'm pretty competitive. Each position I've got, my offensive line is pretty solid. I've got a couple of young centers that I actually I've got built up pretty good, and by the start of the season, I'm going to have both those guys up in the 80s, around the 80 area, and I think that's going to help continuity of my offense. As far as any other things in the free agency and stuff, I think there was a couple other guys I was trying to get a hold of, but I missed out on those guys and stuff. But I'm going to definitely be active in free agency after the draft. That's kind of my forte. I like to get in, find those gems, those guys that got passed up, and see what I can make moves after the draft.
So talk about that. When you get into the undrafted free agency or free agency right as we start the season, what is your thought process? Like, what are you looking for? Are you looking for maybe some diamonds in a rough, or what exactly is it that you're looking to get your hands on?
The way I approach it is I basically approach looking at their different traits. Like say a running back, look and see if they have what I say my top 5 things is speed, acceleration, carry, vision, and either stiff arm or trucking, some kind of special move. If they have 1 to 2 of those and are decent in the other areas, I'll go ahead and try to get them in on the team, either keep them on the roster if I feel like they might be swept up off my practice squad, or if I feel like I can sneak them through, try to keep them on. But that's kind of my approach. Is I look at like 5 different things, and if they fit 1 to 2, and if they fit more, then great. But the more that they have, the more in demand they're going to be. Those things that I feel like I can around, and I have actually with the Cowboys and stuff. I had a couple of guys that came in, and I kept them on the practice squad and stuff. And I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, I think Massimo may have 1 starting. If not, it was for another team that they traded away and stuff. But I definitely like to try to mold those guys and make something out of them.
All right, so here's the big question. What holes are left to fill for the New England Patriots for you to be able to make a run there in the AFC?
Right now, at this point in time, I've got to look at my right end. I've got a couple of guys pegged. I still actually have quite a few on my draft board. It's kind of amazing because most of the time I don't have anybody on my draft board. So I'm kind of excited about that. See what happens going into the round 6. But other than that, then I need a backup quarterback. I need a backup free agency. I did look at Kaiser to fill that need, but I'm not sure who it was that actually got in and took them away from me and stuff. But I'm going to be looking definitely at that position here in this next couple of months.
All right, here's the other big question. What do we expect from the New England Patriots for season 79?
Well, I expect the Patriots to be competitive. I know that the AFC East was pretty weak, it looked like, going into the playoffs, but they were ended up being really strong and stuff, so that maybe speaks a little bit volumes of how competitive the division is and stuff. So, but I'm going to be in the mix. I'm going to give it my all. I know it's kind of tough, only having 1 season basically to kind of get your team into what you like and how your philosophy is and stuff. But we'll see what happens. Definitely going to give it the best going in this final season of Madden 18.
All right, now I can't let you go without bringing it up, so let's go ahead and talk about it since I've got you with us. Now, you're not going to be a big fan, and understandably so, of us trying out all Madden. That I do. I know that you you at least understand kind of the thought process. There we go, behind it. But just kind of what are your overall? Why is this not going? Sorry, guys. What are your overall thoughts about going to All Madden, and what makes you have that moment of hesitation?
Well, like I've said before, I was a game changer, and I've had those one-on-one conversations with the devs, and you kind of get some insight on some things and stuff. And I know it's the game has changed a little bit. I know they added some different things to the game this year and stuff. Just some of those things that I feel like that might be overpowered as those guys that have got those teams, like Cincy's of the league and stuff, going into this All Madden. It may give them a bigger advantage. Like I said, I'm willing to try anything. I get a little down and out about stuff, but hey, I'm here to support the league and behind anything that's done, and I'll definitely give it my 100% and try to see what happens with this season.
Well, Maniac, your picture, listen to me, sorry. Your pick is coming up here in just a couple of picks. Thanks so much for spending some time with us tonight. Good luck in season 79. It's great to have you back, and yeah, let's look forward to having some fun.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. Mom's doing better, and got soccer done and stuff with the championship, like I said, and so I'm ready to get back into swing things this next Madden.
Yep, all really good stuff. We're glad that you're here, and yeah, we'll see you on the other side, my friend.
All right, you guys have a good night.
All right, lots of good picks that are coming in here. Thanks for Maniac for spending some time with us tonight. I'm telling you, we will be a better league when the Patriots are winning, and they will be winning now that Maniac is back at hand with that team. Or should I say at hand with that team? I say back at hand just because I know in the past that team was already a powerhouse. When Cincyberg had them, they kind of have taken some steps back. The owners that came up after him needed a little bit more time with them and was not able to have that time just because the same thing with Maniac. They had to step away due to just some real life issues that had kind of came up. So glad that Maniac's mom is doing much, much better, and soccer championship coach of the world here, and lots of picks have come in. We got the Ravens and the Browns here with a couple picks back-to-back, and now it's over to Maniac and his Patriots. The strong safety Bradshaw goes to the Colts. Hamilton, cornerback, goes to the Ravens. Buchanan, receiver, goes to the Ravens. Whitfield, receiver, goes to the Browns. Harvey, middle linebacker, goes to the Browns. And now we have the Patriots, the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Seahawks just took defensive end, right end, Herring. Let's see what I can find on Mr. Herring. It sounds like Mr. Dawson is back.
Yes. Looks like we only had one person post a picture. Their player they drafted back in we're in the sixth round. Yeah, back in the fifth round. Jason had an excellent pick, actually, is what it said. A Josh Lucky left tackle out of Florida.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about him.
Yeah, and everything's all pretty solid with him. Strength 85. Run block's 80, and impact block is 81. Pass block is 77, but with him being only 22, he should be able to bump that up pretty high throughout the season.
What about your pick that you just made? I say just made. It's probably been 10 picks ago or so now. How did that kid come out?
Yeah, I'm at the point where I guess just making pick. I mean, just kind of reaching, and I need a third string running back, and I picked Ray Trucks out of Arkansas, just because he's out of Arkansas. Yeah, and he actually came out pretty solid for at least a spell back. 91 acceleration, 90 speed. His juke move is 86. He stiff arm is 63. Spin is 67. So he won't be able to make a lot of moves out there in the open. But he is pretty solid as far as having that right enough speed, that or enough speed to break away and to get a few extra, I guess, relieving Kamara and I guess Roman Franklin out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're really good at building running backs and taking running backs that some of us, me, couldn't do anything with, and actually doing something really, really well with them. So, look, this guy should be a really great player for you. And It's amazing that you and your buddy are both extremely good rushers of the ball and just seem to have a knack of being able to find holes that most of us cannot find. Shepard, halfback, goes to the Dallas Cowboys. Wide receiver Charles goes over to the Seattle Seahawks because at the end of the day, the Seahawks just needed one more wide receiver. This guy's 5'11", ran a 4.50 40. Really good route runner. Can get off of blocks pretty easy, but will need to work on everything else. He was expected to go in the 4th round, so you're getting him early in the 6th round, so not a bad pickup for them. Next up at 169, you got the Kansas City Chiefs, 170, the Denver Broncos, 171, the Chicago Bears, 172, the Green Bay Packers, 173, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, again, we're going to throw it out there. If you would like to talk about your team, please don't hesitate. Just let Dawson know. We'll bring you on and do just like Maniac. We'll talk about your offseason. We'll talk about your team, and we'll find out how things are going. Let me talk about Randall McCaleb real quick for the Kansas City Chiefs. 6'1", ran a 4.62 40, so probably a guy that you want to move to tight end, or at least attempt to move him to tight end by filling out a whatever we call those forms that we have on the forums where you can request that. A good catch, big body guy that can hold on to the ball, made some pretty good spectacular catches, but needs to work on everything else. And then I cut you off, so let me go over to you and let you finish your statement.
Oh, mine went blank. I forgot what else. You did. Priest did say we can skip him. So once we come up to his picks, like right now, he said we can skip him, as well as Vikings.
Alrighty. So let's see where we're at. We got tight end. Halfback Hull that goes to the Denver Broncos. Tight end Burns go to the Chicago Bears. And I know he's been really focusing on having a good, solid draft here as he gets ready to look for his import and try to make a push. And he really likes his team, which is a good thing. It's good to really like the team that you've built, and he's pretty happy with that. The Green Bay Packers take Lester Powers, 6'2", ran a 4.60 40. But a guy that can do everything pretty well when it comes to catching the ball. He makes great spectacular catches. He can hold on to the ball in traffic. He has really good hands. He's just slow, but definitely a red zone threat, and that might come in really, really handy in the league, in that green zone, that red zone, whatever you want to really call it or label it as. This guy, this Powers kid, will be a good player for them, and I would not be shocked at all if he makes this team and is able to make some plays for them.
Yeah, going back a few picks, the Broncos, looks like all my division rivals are having a good draft. But the Broncos, he picked up a solid power back, this late in the draft, Jaron Hole. He's 21, out of Purdue, 6'3". His speed is 90, acceleration is 84, but his stiff arm is 94, and trucking is 90. So he's able to make those short gains, and he probably won't be able to outrun anybody. But I think at this point we kind of seen a few other power backs. I think Seahawks has a solid one. And then so does Raiders. I think at one time Giants has one. I'm not sure if he traded him, but just because they got the solid trucking skills, and even Smash picked up one in the first round. So it's going to be interesting to see as far as my game planning, stopping his receivers and stopping his run game.
Jerome Johnson Jr., a left end for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This guy was rated to go super high, especially early in the college football season. He's got the size at 6'7", but then goes to the combine and just didn't have a good representation of who he was. Only 17 on the bench press, only ran a 4.91. He's been labeled as lazy. Probably just needs to work on a little bit of everything. I mean, he doesn't really have great. He has no finesse moves like the spin move or things like that. His power moves are okay at best. He can get off of some blocks because of his size. He can use his arms to get off of those blocks pretty well. But again, a guy that had a disappointing season and disappointed at the combine, and now has fallen from what was projected at one time to go early in the second round all the way here to about the middle of the 6th round. So he cost himself some money, but who knows? They might have been able to get them a flyer on a kid that might be able to get after the quarterback on a down and long distance and make some plays for them. Spencer Dowdy goes over to the Buffalo Bills, undrafted, rated quarterback, only B+ thrown power. I want to say this might be the second quarterback he's taken, so I'm not quite sure if he just didn't set up his board correctly, or if the computer is just doing him wrong and dirty in a lot of ways, because he has taken, I think, a couple of different quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure on the whole draft board issue because I was helping Dakota out, and I picked his players that he was kind of going for at first, and kind of find out it picked the linebacker that was last, and so it kind of allowed you to pick up that fullback because he had him in the second, I guess, in the second order, but it picked the linebacker that was in the very end, and then it just did that again for a receiver. He was trying to pick a safety, and it picked a receiver. So I'm not sure if it does with need on the depth chart or what. I'm not sure.
It's supposed to go by order, but I think it doesn't go by order of their draft position. Like if it says they think they'll go in the second round or third, I don't think it does that. I think it goes by the order that you clicked it. So if you click the fullback last, even though he's got a higher rating, he will be picked last. So I don't know how you click them. If not, maybe we're finding some new little,
Yeah, I'm not sure on that because I know for sure that safety and fullback was at the top and they wasn't selected. So I don't know on that issue, but saying that
I think you did a good job. I don't care what he says.
I know we're coming up on the 49ers, and I think he's out, so we'll be able to skip him.
Yeah, and Mo. I think Mo's still gone. He
Mo,
said he wouldn't be home.
Right after my pick is Smash, and we can skip him as well. So we might be able to.
Derek Sharp, halfback, goes over to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Another guy that had a disappointing combine, a disappointing season. A guy that can really make some moves in the hole, has good carrier vision, but only ran a 4.55 40 and only did 19 on the bench press. Did have a 4.14 shuttle, so that's really nice. He's going to have that burst and that acceleration, but is going to need to work on carrying the ball properly because he does have a tendency to fumble and had a lot of fumbles this past season. So we're at pick number 17 in round number 6, 177, then 178 for the Seahawks, 179. San Francisco will skip both of those, and then Dawson at 180. Here's kind of how things are going to roll. I see that I've got a lot of messages popping up. I'm not reading any messages just because it pauses every time I go over there to read anything. So the way this is going to work is after the draft, I'm going to give about I'm going to give less than 5 minutes. I'm going to probably give about 3 minutes for people just to look over their draft, make any last-second changes. But because of those, actually, we're going to give like 1 minute because those changes go so fast. There's no reason to sit there and wait. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give you 10 minutes at week 1, week 2, week 3 of the preseason. We'll pause in week 4 so you can make your cuts, your free agent signings, and play your week 4 game. I suggest that everyone plays that week 4 game because it truly is, it's a different game, and it's going to take some adjusting to go ahead and get ready for that. So, we'll be in the preseason. You guys can start playing your preseason games here within the next, I'd say, 30 minutes. We're going to be finished with this draft, and then we'll be ready to go off into the last season. And before you know it, we'll be moaning and complaining and griping about how terrible this game is, and we'll forget all the excitement that we just had from this draft. Kicker Nicholas goes over to the San Diego Chargers. Go ahead and talk about your pick.
Yeah, I had to let both my kicker and punter go in the free agency, and I threw all my cap space money. I still got a little bit, but I threw the majority of it to that cornerback, so I wasn't really able to splurge as much as I wanted to. So I had to pick a kicker here. I can't let I want to say I try to get the best one. I just kind of looked at the combine. I'm not really sure why reps for a kicker will make a difference, but I just went with a kicker. and his kick power is 92.
Nice.
Kick accuracy is 87, so it's pretty solid going as far as a rookie. And his awareness is 48, but I'm not really sure if that has any effect as far as the kicking. It might, I guess in the clutch moments, but I'm not really very much in the clutch moments. I'm usually losing big or get a few, I guess, a win here and there.
Now, did you remember seeing the other kicker? Did somebody post a photo of the other kicker that was drafted?
No, I don't see a kicker, but it was a punter by the Rams, and I think it was not. I think that was 95 kick power, and yeah, here it goes. Yeah, 95 kick power. Accuracy was 84, and Blair Sawyer out of Maryland, and it was a good pick for him, and 71 overall.
I think kicking is going to be so vitally important. I know someone like you has struggled with in the past, whether it was the internet connection or whatever. But I know that you've had some struggles with it in the past. It truly is different. I played a game the other day with some super strong wind. Number one, you don't get to see the arc at all, and so, or if you do, it's like half a second or something. And so it's really, really difficult to see where the kick's going to go. You're going to have to learn that skill. And then it's also way faster, and so you really have to be on top of it, learn your timing, and get your timing down. And I truly expect there to be lots of missed kicks and possibly even cost some people some games early in the season as they get ready for it. So if you haven't had a chance to give that an opportunity, give it a test run, you should try to play your preseason game in week number 4 because it is going to be of vital importance. But I love drafting kickers like what you just drafted. I had to do that myself this Madden. I drafted actually 2 punters, 1 punter in one draft that I moved to kicker. I actually played punter and then I lost my kicker, and then so I bumped him up to kicker, and then I drafted a new punter, and both have worked out great. I think the punter made the Pro Bowl this past season, and so look, you can definitely, it's not worth spending the money on kickers and punters. You just draft you the best one, and you give him a run, and he'll be able to make some kicks for you.
Yeah, you make an excellent point. I didn't even think about that with the kicking, that's going to be very crucial. Especially with me, my internet is not as great as y'all, so it might be a few, I guess, 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. I might have to just go for it if I know I can't kick, that 40-yard or 50-yard field goal. No reason, stay within the rules, but if we go back to the draft, looks like Jason picked a strong safety, Harmon Underwood, and he did post a picture. Overall 67, so it might just be a practice squad member. But he's 22 out of Charleston Southern, and his acceleration is 91, speed 89. But what's really that's I guess a key attribute for him is his hit power is at 87. Pursuit is 62, play rec is 63, but at age 22, he should be able to get that up there if he's willing to keep him, on the roster.
I'm just going to give you a rundown of some of my best players available. Now, some of these guys may not actually be there because they do disappear at times. But Samuel Bobo, wide receiver, I think is a red chipper. Keith Stokes is a blue chipper that I think might be available. Kasim McBride is a blue chipper that might be available. Cedric Fletcher, another receiver, blue chipper. These are all receivers, so I think there's definitely some receivers that are out there. Tight end Shelton Powers is a red chipper that I think could make some plays for some teams. Looking through the rest of this list here, it's pretty clean. But right guard Joseph Felderman, I think, is a red chipper that can make some plays for some teams, especially this late in the draft. I mean, I've always had luck drafting some of these guys in the 6th and 7th rounds that were able to either become starters or just be good players. Left outside linebacker Angel Walker, I think, is a possibly good player. Marcus Swanson, left guard, is another really good player. Jason Angler, left guard. Cooper Pasco, left guard. These are all guys that I think are blue chippers or red chippers that can make plays. Denard McFoy is a blue chipper running back. Now, these guys are not going to be superstars. They're going to have some kind of attribute that's going to hold them down, and most of the time it's speed or strength. But Rashawn McNair, is a free safety red chipper. Bubba Wade is a free safety red chipper that I think could still make some plays for teams. If you're in need of a fullback, Sanchez Hughes is a fullback red chipper that I think could still make some plays. And those are my kind of best players available unless you're looking at center. I think there are a ton of centers. Zach Pennington, Roma Daniel, Norma Blanchard, Hunter Welzovich, Garrett Gerhardt, Dustin Dybert Smith, Duncan Freeman, and Kirby Shelby. These are all centers that I think can still very much make plays for teams. All right, we're wrapping things up here, and we are almost to the 7th round. I was trying to see what we've missed here. Cornerback Lindy. Let me see what I can find on Mr. Lindy. I don't know if I marked him already or not. Let me see. Everything just starts blending together here. Skip these next couple. All right, we're over to the Ravens, who I think is not here. I don't know. I know he's working, but it seems like he's been making his picks. So maybe he's got somebody making his last pick in the 6th round. Let me see if I can go back up here. Cornerback Lindy. Let me find Mr. Lindy. Marshall Lindy, 5'10", a really good man coverage guy in college, ran a 4.44 40 and did 20 in the bench press. Nice pick there for the Oakland Raiders. Not a finished product, but definitely a guy that can probably make some plays for them. Wide receiver McBride. I think he was one of my guys that I was just talking about. Yep, Kasim McBride. I like that pick. He's going to be slow. Ran a 4.57 40, but can catch everything, has size. The Eagles seem to have been picking some really big receivers this draft and really has piled them up. Cornerback Wesovich goes over to the Vikings. Let's see what I can find on him. Tyrone Wesovich, 5'11", ran a 4.45 40, did 16 on the bench press. More of a zone press guy than a man guy, but still going to need a lot of work in a lot of different areas. Left outside linebacker Thornton. Mr. Thornton's 6 foot, a good tackler. Did 25 on the bench press, but only did a 4.86 40. So that's definitely going to hurt him trying to make plays in this league. I mean, there's some bare minimums that you have to have, and that's going to be a guy that needs to move over to defensive end if he's going to play in this league. Right after that, right in Shropshire, let's see, Levanton Shropshire, 6'4", ran a 4.64 40, so very good there. 23 on the bench press, pretty good there, but just needs to work overall on his game so that he can be able to make some plays here. And then the Falcons took right outside linebacker Bush. Let's see what I got on Mr. Bush. Now, was this one of the guys that you remember setting for him?
Yeah. He was there in the in the bottom, so I'm not sure if just the draft board is cleaned out or what. I'm not sure it was the same situation like the previous ones. But yeah.
Good, strong player, just slow. You know, definitely going to have to be a guy that has to be moved to defensive end, especially on his team. But definitely a guy that has some potential to move over to defensive end and be a pretty good defensive end for him. Left tackle Hopkins went over to the New York Jets. Let's see what I got on him. Oh, right tackle Hopkins. That's why I can't find him. 6'5", more of an impact blocker. than anything else. He did 24 in the bench press, so he's going to have to get stronger. But at 6'5", he's got that nice hands that he can just jam people. He has some potential there to be able to make plays. He's just going to have to get stronger. He's going to have to work on his footwork and his blocking technique. The left tackle was then, Ferguson, that went over to the Baltimore Ravens. Ace Ferguson, 6'4", again, a guy that's really good in his hands. A little bit of a footwork problem. Can give up the speed rush around the corner, but did do 30 on the bench press, so you really like that. Another kicker off the board. Now we're going to start seeing some of these guys give these kickers. Mr. Reed Kerblaklis, 6'4" for a kicker. I don't know why anything else matters, but we'll have to see what he looks like at the end of the day. But when you're taking one this late, it'll probably work out pretty good for you. And I forgot I'm actually done with picks, so yeah, I forgot that I didn't have any late picks. Right in Ashley, Leonard Ashley, 6'6", very good tackler, very big thumper. Did 19 on the bench press, but only ran a 4.93 40. So he's not strong enough to move to the inside, not fast enough to have as a speed rusher. Probably a right end for him to be able to just be strong at the point of attack. But I don't know. He's definitely got some things to work on. Maybe even a practice squad player for them. Halfback McLean goes over to the Baltimore Ravens. Let me see. I was trying to find Mr. McLean. Barry McLean. Supposed to go in the 4th round. He's 5'11". He did 20 on the bench press, around a 4.47 40. Really good in the hole. And needs to just tidy up a few little ball carrying issues. Probably going to be a thumper. Should be a nice little pick this late in the draft for the Baltimore Ravens. Brent Hood, one of my best available cornerbacks left, 6'1". Nice zone coverage guy. Ran a 4.41 40. Did 23 in the bench press. One of the best available cornerbacks left in this draft. I really like that pick for Chaotix, who hasn't been on our draft show in a couple years. So, Chaotix, one of these days you're going to have to hop on this draft show. I know your family time's pretty limited, and so that's probably why you're not on with us. But yeah, we definitely got to have you back on soon, just to talk about your team.
He did post a picture of Bennett Hood.
Yeah, talk about it.
It's showing as a good pick. Ranked 159th out of True Talent. And he picked him in 196. Acceleration is 87, slightly slow for a cornerback, but his speed is 92. Zone is already at 81. Man is at 75, so it's a pretty solid pick this late in the draft.
Free safety Bubba Wade goes over to the Rams. These are one of my red chippers I had left. 6'3", ran a 4.60 40, so a little slow, but strong, a thumper. A guy that's got to just work on a few little issues with his tackling, holding on to the ball a little bit more. But at 6'3", brings a lot of nice potential there. And then Sanchez Hughes goes right after him to the Patriots. One of the few fullbacks that I thought was still had the opportunity to start for some teams. Ran a 4.76 40. I did 26 in the bench press. More of a running fullback, like a fullback halfback hybrid, but I think still has some potential to be a good player for the Patriots. And you're grabbing him here in the 7th round, so even if he doesn't turn out very well, like it was worth the shot to see what he looked like.
Yeah, it looks like Rams posted their free safety Bubba Wade. And it was a good pick. And acceleration is 90, speed is 86, hit power is 84, so that's pretty good for a run support safety, which he is. Zone is the 69, so that's going to be pretty low as far as starting him, but he should be pretty good if you stick him in the special teams.
And the Panthers continue to grab halfbacks here. I'm not sure Clearly there's a need there, right? And they feel like they're trying to fill that need and taking these flyers here. I'm assuming that this guy will be a thumper, but they clearly are trying to fill a need that they feel like they have at that running back position. Barry Morrison, one of the better free safeties that I felt like was left. He ran a 4.43 40, 21 in the bench press. More of a thumper than anything else, but just some raw athleticism that he should be able to bring to the Kansas City Chiefs, who I've liked their draft overall. I feel like they've had a good, strong draft, and they've really been able to fill some needs that they have and possibly even hit on some pretty good players throughout this draft. Strong safety Kurt Hughes goes over to the Carolina Panthers, 6'4". I don't have a whole lot on him. He did do 25 in the bench press, ran a 4.67 40, so he won't be a superstar burner, but clearly a thumper, maybe even somebody that you think about trying to move to linebacker, which we've seen happen here before. Of course, you got to fill out the little
you got to fill out the waiver.
The little waiver, but we have allowed it to happen before. That may be a potential guy that gets bumped up into the box because he looks like he'll be a box player. Go ahead and skip Mr. Priest here.
Yeah, going back to Barry Morrison out of KC, it shows as an excellent pick. He was ranked 100th in true talent and ended up getting at 201, so that was a solid pick for Sharks fan. I guess I feel like I'm the losing end as far as in the division. You know, it seems like KC, Denver, and Oakland has some solid draft picks so far. But going back to Morrison, he's got the raw speed, 92 acceleration, 92 speed, hit power 77. So it could be better, but he's this pretty normal for a safety, for a playmaker safety. Zone is a 70, age 22, so he's still got some room for improvement. And the play rec is at 63, which he can easily get that up if he chooses to keep him on the roster.
So, yeah, we didn't get a whole lot of call-ins tonight. Again, we've probably got another 15 minutes or so of the draft. Hopefully it goes by a little quicker than that when I get to some of these picks that I know that we can skip. But please feel free if you want to hop on real quick. We probably have time to do one more little call-in. I have to agree with you, though, Dawson. Clearly, that AFC, what is it? Is it the West?
Yeah, the AFC West.
The AFC West really has gotten stronger. And, but I think it also speaks to where each team is in that division. You weren't in a position to hit home run draft because you had such a great roster. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were either I think you were one game out or half a game out or tied.
Yeah,
for the division.
It was 3 teams that was trying to go for that wild card. There's 2 wild card spots, and I just happened to be the odd team out. So, but 10-6 record last season. And I guess I had my chances, but yeah, I didn't make the playoffs last season.
Yeah, but you were right there, right? And so this really became a draft more about trying to find those 1 or 2 gems that were there, and then just really fill out the depth of your team and maybe even hide some guys away on the practice squad that you can call up in case of an injury or, in case you need somebody to come in and do a quick fill-in start or something like that. So, I think that the AFC as a whole, with your team really hitting its stride, with that massive running game that you've got, and with a good draft. I know you don't love your draft, but I think you've had a good draft. And then Maniac has moved over to the Patriots, right? The AFC as a whole has definitely stepped it up, and hopefully somebody will be able to challenge both Mo, who got on a run there and made it all the way to the OMFL Bowl 78 as an 8-8 team, but also Cincyberg, who's pretty much owned the AFC, not only as the New England Patriots, but as the Cincinnati Bengals. I will say, as a friendly little fun jab, though, he did own the AFC after Ducks has left, but still, the AFC has been his for quite some time now, and we need some teams in the AFC to challenge him.
Right, yeah, and like you said, he's pretty much on the AFC the whole cycle, using the Patriots and the Bengals. Just his offense, like you said earlier tonight, he can just pick up anybody in the either undrafted receivers or his rookie quarterbacks and just make it as offensive weapons. He can really utilize those receivers. The way he runs the ball, his play calling, everything. He just, I guess he's shown why he's the top dog in the AFC the whole time, and it's gonna be interesting to see if any of us as the rest of the AFC can take him down, or even if some of his division guys can take him, because Kay, he's built that defense up to a great defense. So I mean, is it his year? Is it his year to claim the North, or is it somebody else? Like you said, Maniac coming in, he's making these moves around, and never can count Maniac out. Any team he has, he's gonna they're gonna be a competitor. Going back to I think AFC South last year, they had 3 teams going into or making the playoffs. It just shows Texans, they lost a lot of star players. So he's got a tough road compared to the Jags and the Titans. But as far as my division, I think it just gets tougher. I think all of us at one point were still can still compete and take the division at one point last season. Broncos, I think 2 seasons ago he went 1-15 or 2-14.
Mm-hmm.
But he plays tough every game. Every time I play him, it's always a nail biter. Either it's a last possession or if some crazy play going on in overtime or anything of that matter. It's always a tough game, and he only got better offensively by picking up his that running back. And he picked up a solid blocking tight end. So it's gonna be interesting to see who comes out on top. I think when B-Hog was here, I think he took the division 1 year. Other than that, it's just been me and Raiders. Broncos haven't claimed the division, or the Shocks fan with KC, which last year was his first year there, I believe. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially with this last season going in, and with what's going on matting. It's going to change a lot of things as far as who can take the division and who can take down the top dog in the AFC and in the NFC.
Yep, I totally agree. Yeah, please excuse the draft. Just going to pause here real quick. I had a bunch of messages piling up, so I want to sneak peek. Looks like there's some drama in the wrestling league, but what would a wrestling league be without a little bit of drama? Look, we're getting late here at night. It is 10:34. I want to get us where we need to go as soon as we possibly need to get there. So a couple of your teams are either going all the way to 0 or not picking. So we're going to just start rolling through these picks here pretty soon. We just ask that you guys help us out. Make these picks. If you're not around, we're going to skip you. I know Smash, we're going to get to skip. I haven't seen the Bucks have went down to 0 every single time. So I think I'm going to skip them because I think they might have a pick. No, they don't have any more picks, but I know Modeli with the Jets is not around. Dwayne and his Falcons is not around. Ziploc has been making his picks. Bows makes picks. I'm not sure Pepper's around. I haven't been able to see him make his picks, and I'm not sure if the Houston Texans are around, but we'll see. If you know that your guys are not around, just let us know. We'll definitely skip them. It's been a good draft, though. I know it's been a little quiet. This is the first time we've used Discord as our audio. But it seems like it's been just a little bit quieter than normal. But it is, it's late on a Sunday. It's the last season. But overall, I think it's been a really, really fun, good draft. I think it's been really fun. It's been really good. And I can't wait to kind of see how this last season plays out. Angel Walker, left outside linebacker, goes over to the Cleveland Browns. I love this pick. I did 27 on the bench press, ran a 4.77 40, so not super duper fast, but I think he'll be plenty fast enough. 6'4", very, very strong, really good tackler, never gives up on plays. I mean, this guy is, I should have skipped this one. This guy will be a good player for the Browns. May not be a starter, but definitely a guy that could come in on situational downs and make plays for his team. Good pick for Chaotic. I know he's a defensive first guy. He loves to build that defense, and he just continues to add tools to it. Overall, this was an excellent draft for fullbacks, excellent draft for left tackle, guard, and center. A really good draft for defensive tackle, outside linebacker, middle linebacker, and free safety. Um, Pretty average for halfback, pretty average for defensive end, and then poor everywhere else. Really bad one if you needed one. Quarterback, really bad if you needed. I think tight end and receiver were actually. I think receiver was excellent and tight end was average. It was better than what it's been before. Now, when I say excellent for receiver, it wasn't all excellent like speed receivers. There were definitely some receivers that were slower, but still very, very, very good. Right tackle was probably poor. Cornerback was terrible, by far the worst position this draft. And then strong safety wasn't that great. And kicker and punter, I think, will just end up being average at best. I think the top end talent was average. I think that the hidden gems were pretty average. And I think overall, just the depth of this draft, though, was pretty good. It was a really deep draft. I'm telling you, the Browns just picked up a guy that it would not shock me if he had quick development. I mean, he's going to be a player.
Looks like he Kay just posted it. Angel Walker. It was an excellent pick. What it's showing, 75th in true talent, and he drafted him, up here in the 7th round. So that was a good pick for him. Nothing too flashy. Just I guess all around mediocre stats. Hit power 78, block shedding 73, but he can easily get that up there, especially being only 22. Power moves is 83 going out, so I guess that's one solid attribute for him. Speed 80, play rec is 57.
The speed isn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah. Being 6'4", 259, and pursuit is 81. The only thing that I guess the downfall right now is play rec, but that's pretty much everybody at this time in the draft. So
yeah, I mean, look, you could move that guy. I don't think I think he might play a 3-4. You could definitely move that guy to outside linebacker, or even bumping down to defensive end. I thought there was 20 blue chipper prospects, 33 red chipper prospects. 53 total that we will be really good players in this league. Just overall, I thought it was a really deep, nice draft. That I think people will be happy with, especially with it being our last draft. Is Pepper on the chat?
No, looks like he's not online in the game, or he wasn't.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, he's not online.
All right, we're gonna.
He hasn't been in the chat.
Yep.
Raiders, he's been on.
Yeah, he's been on. Eagles have been on. Chaotic's been on. You're on, and then we'll skip the 222 and 223, and then Mr. Irrelevant is going to go to the Carolina Panthers this year. So it's been a good draft. What are you kind of looking forward to most as we move into our last season here?
I guess it'll be interesting to see new teams on top. I know going to All Madden, and then the way we, a lot of us already have a team built, 90 plus overall teams. So it's going to be tricky to see, who can overcome, take down the top dog, like we've been saying, in the AFC and the NFC. I know Mo has been kind of quiet throughout the all season. Not sure if he's been out on business trip or whatever, or if he just has his roster set the way he wants it.
No, he's been gone.
Okay, so he's been quietly trying to or quietly making trades, but haven't really, I guess, made the impact like he's has in the last few drafts. I think, like you say, he was out, so he probably was expecting that. But he probably already has his roster set up and ready to make another run. But yeah, like you said, let's go to All Madden. A lot of us going to, I guess, going to be more, agitated at the game, right after the game. So that's when a lot of us, or all of us, needs to start inputting more feedback. If you feel like your opponent is not doing something right, just add the timestamps, and then one of us can look at it and we can review it. And it might can potentially be, I guess, a good thing looking into if All Madden comes out and we all have a positive,
Your pick's coming up. Just want to give you a heads up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got somebody I want. Hopefully, Raiders don't pick them. Probably will, but yeah. But going back, it's going to be interesting just to see how these settings are played out. Like you said, you're talking about the kicking. A lot of times, I missed some kicks just because of the way my internet is, and now I got to go and relearn, the kicking meter and all that. So it's going to be a challenge, but I think if we, like it's going to the if we, I guess, stay focused and stay communicate with everybody. If you're out of town, let your opponent know, or even post it and let Bill know. Going forward, and we need to end the season. Even though a lot of us dislike Madden 18, we still need to end it on a high note.
Yeah.
Going into Madden 19, and we just need to, I guess, communicate, stay focused, and I guess play clean.
Nope, I agree with everything that you said. I think that I am excited because I think that All Madden does some things better. It plays like a better all-around game, but I also know that it does some things worse, right? And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The game is what it is. We've all been trying to do our very best. I've even let my emotions get to me after some of these games where it just feels like you've had no chance. That there's nothing that you can do. It's up to you now. Your pick's up.
Yeah.
It feels like there's nothing that you can do. Oh, that's that receiver Bobo. Go ahead and tell us about him because this is a guy.
He's terrible. It says it was a good pick, but it says he's ranked 403 in true talent. So I don't see how that's a good pick. But acceleration is 86, speed 85, jumping is 93. So I guess he can jump. He's overall 63. Let me see if he has any good traits. No, he doesn't. He's going straight to the practice squad. So
move him to tight end. That's what I think you should do.
Well, he's only 198 pounds, so I doubt I will be able to do that. And it wouldn't be right because I'm sure his run block is probably in the low 30s.
And now we've got to Mr. Irrelevant with the Carolina Panthers. Dawson, thanks so much. I know that you had a pretty full night, but yet you made some time so I wouldn't be here all by myself. And I appreciate that. It just goes to speak to the great guys that we have here, especially yourself and a lot of other guys on the board who just put in so much more effort to produce content and get us really great things. A receiver goes to Mr. Irrelevant to the Carolina Panthers. So one more time, let me just give you a quick recap of what's going to happen. We're going to give you about 1 minute here just to, I don't know why you need to do a recap, but if you want to look at a recap, we're going to go ahead, we're going to advance to week 1. I'm going to go make sure the settings are all correct and that we're ready to go. Probably going to give you a little bump in that kick meter accuracy to kind of help out a little bit because it is way, way harder. And then you're going to get 10 minutes. I'm going to announce it as we go, but you're going to get 10 minutes per week here as we get through weeks 1, 2, and 3 of the preseason. We'll get you to week 4. We encourage you to set your roster, sign in on the thread that you're set at 53, set your practice squad, and then play some games, give that a test run before we get to week 1. But we will be at week 1 tomorrow night, so Monday night around 9 p.m. Central Time, we will advance to week 1, and then we'll be on our normal 3-day schedule from there on out. So lots of good stuff that's coming. We will see you on the side. Dawson, thanks so much, man, for being with me.
Oh, no problem.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a great draft. I appreciate you being here. Lots of good stuff. Let's get you off into the week 1 and have some fun, guys. Hey, we'll see you for Press Pass Live next weekend. Peace.
See ya.